step with the screenshots of that. So definitely you can just go through and you can do the process once again. So I hope it will help you to understand the creation of the virtual machines like Windows and Linux in the Azure cloud. It provide all the details and with all the screenshots. So everybody can go through and everybody can do the same process without any doubts and all. I hope so. It is still you are facing some challenges. Definitely you can put here. Okay, we will solve that. So whether my screen is visible to you?
Yes, Maria, yes.
Okay. Okay. So today we are refreshing yesterday's last session. That is the storage account, creation of storage account. We already discussed that in a quick format. That means why we are going to use these whenever we want to store a lot of data, huge amount of files. Definitely, we can make use of the storage account in the Azure cloud, right? Because sometimes we have some limitations in our drive, we have some limitations in our local machines. So definitely when we want to store a lot of information, when we want to store a lot of files in our system, it is not possible in the real scenario, right? Because you all are working in an organization, we want to store a lot of data, documents for the accreditation process and the other process. Definitely, we want to store a lot of data, right? So what we want to do, we can use the storage areas in the cloud platforms. And what is the benefit? We can access it globally, right? In the first day itself, we already see all those things. We can access all the data globally. That means we can access from wherever we want. If you are in the office, definitely we can access that. Or if you are in the organization, or if you are any place outside that, definitely we can access and do that immediate work, right? So for all these things, the storage accounts are very useful in the present scenario. Okay. So now we can see once more how to create the storage account. For that, we already mentioned yesterday, and I'm already show you all the things. So I just refreshed that. So what is that? For creating a storage account in the Azure cloud, what you can do, you can just click on the storage account, or you can search in the search bar option. Okay, but here also you can just check with the storage account. Otherwise, you can see directly here. So you can just click on here. Okay, so now you can see a page like this. Currently, there is no storage account. Now I am going to create a new storage account, okay, for storing the data in the cloud. For that, what we want to do, we can just click on this create option. Okay, so those who are missed this session, you can just go through right now, no problem. Okay, so when we want to create the storage account, first we just click on that create option. Then you can see a page like this, just like the previous sections. That means the creation of virtual machines and all. Here also, first you ensure the EF subscription. Then now we are going to create the storage account under the resource group FDP AICT. Again, we are going to the same resource group. Still, we can see a lot of resource group are created here. So please don't do that. Please try to select the FDP AICTE for resource group to create all the things in the Azure cloud. So it is very easy to organize the data. So please try to do that. Okay. So now we want to give a storage name. We all know that in the cloud, a lot of people are creating storage account, right? I am creating a storage account. You people are now going to create storage account. So what we want in that cloud, we want to create separate block of area for each individual, for each user, right? So definitely we should give a unique name here. Okay, so I just try to give a name. Okay, so it's already there. So I just try to give. Okay, so first the condition is it should be in small letter only. Okay, so now I am giving the name as Maria FTP storage. Okay, so the name should be a unique one. That is mandatory. And now we can choose the region. Okay, we can choose whatever region according to our nearest place and all, we can choose the nearest one. So here I can just check that. I just pick the central India. Okay. So here we don't want to change anything. We can just go with the standard one and all. And we can just check here. Yesterday also Dynamom told the details of these for what is this locally redundant, then geo redundant, then SON redundant storage. And the last one is GeoSON redundant storage. I just give a brief idea about that. We all know that locally redundant means actually we are trying to replicate the data or trying to give some backups for the data which we stored in the storage area. Okay, so you just imagine if that data center is in a specific location and some natural disaster is going to happen on that location. If that data is stored only in the local redundant storage, then what happened? That means that data, if there is any natural disaster or something is going to happen on that particular data center, definitely the data may get lost, right? So normally geo-redundant means it is not in a specific location. It is not, we are giving the duplicate copies or the replications on that same data center. Instead of that, they try to store that data in different locations. The data center is in different locations. Okay. So if something happened to a specific data center, still we can access the entire data. That is the difference between locally redundant storage and the geo-redundant storage. Then again comes to SON redundant. That means we are categorizing each country or each area into different zones, and we have different data centers in that zones, and we try to replicate or make the copies of that data into that zone wise. Okay, so that is also a little bit better. Okay, then GeoZone, we can just see the entire data center is classified into some zones, and they are giving that data into different zones and all. Okay, so these are the different categories. So then locally redundant storage is, that means they are keeping the replication or the duplication of that data only in that specific data center. But now we are going to just click on this geo redundant. So what happened? Instead of the single backup, or the instead of that replication in a single data center, we can spread the data into different data centers located in different area. Okay, so this is much better, but the cost is different. For the local, it is very low, but the geo redundant, it is bigger, it is higher than the local one. Okay, so this is the category what we can choose here. Now we can create, click on this review button. So I just click on that review button. So now we can see where the validation is passed or not. We can just wait for that. Okay, so now you can see the validation is already passed, and we can, they allow us to create the storage account, right? So after this, what we can do, we can see a lot of data visible here. We can see what is that all. No worries. Now what we can see, we can just click on the create option. Okay. So now I just click on the create option. So it is going to deploy. Okay. So it will take a little bit time. So in between, do you have any doubt on this so that we can discuss that too? So here you can see the deployment process is in progress only. It is not yet completed. So do you have any doubt on the storage area or storage account? You can discuss right now. Anybody face any challenge or anybody having any doubt on that? Definitely we can clear it now. Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, so this will take a little bit time to complete the process, complete the deployment. Okay, so now you
This
can see,
Kausalya ma'am.
yes,
Actually, this is like it is equivalent to Google Drive where what we use, but it is
yes,
like a huge space. We'll get a huge space, right? But
ma'am,
we need a
not only,
subscription for it.
yes, not only the huge size, they provide some other services along with the storage. That is the real advantage here. Okay,
Okay.
that means in the Google Drive, we are just uploading the data. When we want to upload some folder or upload some file, we just upload, but we can't do anything else in the Google Drive, right? But the cloud area, cloud storage area, you can see some other things are also, they are providing some other features. I can just show you, ma'am. Just wait.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so now you can see the deployment process is now completed, right? So now we can click on this go to resource option. Okay, so after we go to the resource, you can see this is the basic information on this storage account. You can see under which resource group we are created this storage account, then the location, then the performance, then the other details at what time it is created, the disk state, everything, every detail is described in this area, right? Now you can see some other properties here, right? That is the blob service, file service, queue service, table service. So these are some properties which is provided by the Azure cloud. Okay. So what is this blob service? Blob service means they are providing the data, they are providing the data. That means we can store the data in an unstructured format. It is not necessary to create or storing the data in a specific structure. We can give the document in store the data as a normal document, image, video, or we can back up the data of our local machine. Everything is possible in this area. Okay. So you can see so many options are disabled and enabled. You can see all those things, right? So whenever we want to give the data into an application, that is possible. We can upload any kind of data in this area. But next we can see they are providing the file services. What is this file services? File service means they are trying to manage the files. They are trying to share the files through some server message block, some protocols like that. That is server message block and all. And the files can be, they help us to mount these files which is uploaded in the storage area. We can mount that files to the virtual machine also. If you want to if you want to connect the file which is stored in the storage area to our virtual machine which is already created in the cloud, that is also possible. Okay, so these properties, these functions are also provided by the Azure cloud. Then the next one you can see queue and table services. Okay, so that is also another kind of formatted data. Table means it is a semi-structured format, and whenever we want to give the data in a for table format, or sometimes we can see that if you want to store the entire student data, you have a lot of students in your college, and you want to store the data in that in the cloud about all the students. They have the name, it's there, register number is there, address, their personal details, and the other academic details are there. But sometimes what you want to access the data about the academics, right? So what you can do, you can access the data in the table format by giving these areas. Definitely, these all are possible in the storage area. Okay. And the queue that is in the format that is in the normal data structure format itself. So if any application is going to run in this cloud, definitely you can access the data from this area. We can connect the storage area and the application, and through that application, we can access the data which is stored in this cloud. All these services are also provided by the Azure cloud. Okay, so that is the basic difference between the normal Google Drive and the Azure cloud. So you can see in the Google Drive, we can just upload and use the data there, right? But in this case, it is not like that. They are providing some more features. They are providing some more services. We can connect with the application. We can access the data through that application. We can connect the data to the virtual machines. All these things are possible here. Okay, I hope it is clear now. Now we can,
Madam, just a doubt here.
yes, sir.
But all these are disabled. I can see on the screen the blob service, file service, queue service, all
Yes,
disabled here.
yes, I can tell you, sir, right now. Yes,
Okay,
just
thank
wait,
you.
sir. Okay, so here you can see in the blob service, some things are disabled and some are enabled. Okay, so I can just tell you that one thing, these hierarchical, that means according to our application, if we are using some application or if you are using something according to our requirement, only we are trying to enable the details. Because you just imagine whatever services we are using, we are pay some amount to the cloud, right? So whenever we want to enable these services, then only we are going to enable these features. Okay, that's why by default it is in the disabled format. But whenever we want to access these kind of services, definitely we can enable this. I will tell you one thing here. So here, yesterday the Dynamo also tell you, yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, please repeat. I joined late, so I missed.
Okay, just a minute, ma'am. Sure. Okay, can I just tell complete the things and I will repeat once more. No worries, ma'am. Otherwise, okay. So otherwise here, just a minute. Okay, that means we are going to create the storage area in the cloud. And now we just created the storage area in the name Maria FDP storage under the resource group FDP AICT. I will show you once again, ma'am. Just wait. Okay. So now here what we are going to do here, you can see. Yes, ma'am.
In 1 minute, you can just explain the steps so that I can open and then
Okay.
we can proceed. No?
Yes,
Otherwise,
sure.
I will be lagging.
Sure. Okay, so in the home page, you can see in the home page, you can see a storage account. So when you want to create the storage account, you can just create the storage account here. Okay, so here already a lot of storage accounts are created now. What you want to do, you just click on this create option. Okay, ma'am, so you can see a page like this. So for that, you can just click on, first you want to ensure that it is in the EF subscription itself. Then you want to select this resource group. What is the resource group? We are going to create every storage account under this FDP AACT. So you can just select this resource group. That is FDP AACT. Then you should give a storage name and it should be a unique one. Because in cloud, a lot of people are going to create the storage account. So every name should be unique. You just imagine in a room, you want to store some data of yours. What you want to do, you should make it a unique one. Otherwise, you should give a specific number or name in that box. Then only you can identify easily, right? Similarly, you want to give the name as a unique one. So you can give a unique name here. Then you can choose the sender. You can use the sender region near to you. If it is not permitted, then you can change the region also. Then you can just make it as the standard one. By default, it is that there is no need to change that. Then the last option is locally redundant storage is there. Geo-redundant storage locally means we are duplicating or replicating the data in the same data center only. But in geo-redundant, we are giving the copy of that data into different data centers, which is located in different areas. So we are opted for that, but the cost is different. Definitely the cost for locally is very low, but for in the case of geo-redundant, it should be high, but we are going to access the geo-redundant storage only. So you can click here. And you can just give the review here. So again, I am trying to give one more name. Okay, FTP storage is already there. Okay, so here you can see, I can just click on this review. So you can see the page like this. Okay, so after the validation process completed, you can just click on the create option. So now it is going to deploy. So after the deployment, you can just go like this. You can access a page that is go to resource option is there. So you can just go to that resource option. Okay. So I am just going to take the previous one. Okay, so after you get into this page, you can see these properties are available. So yesterday also Diana ma'am told about these things. What is this? So you can see the access details, right? So here we have two options, that is cool and hot. The resource group or the storage account or the files which we are frequently accessed is always set as the hot one. That is, we want to access those data very frequently and we can give it as the hot one. Then the other category is cool one. That means the data is not frequently used, that much frequently is not using. Okay, so then we can make that option as the cool one. But now you just see that each and every option, the amount is totally different. For hot, it is very high. For cool and the other two categories are also available, that is called an archive. Called means we are not at all, that means in infrequent usage of the data, and the cloud service itself, they store that kind of data up to 90 days. In the cool tier, it will keep that data only for 30 days. Then for cold tier, that means we just mentioned the system that we are not frequently using this data, so you can keep it for a long time. So that is mentioning by the cold tier. So in that case, it will store the data up to 90 days. Okay. After that, it will automatically replace if the storage is full and all. Then the last category is archive tag. And in that case, it will store the data up to 180 days. That means we already mentioned previously, this data is not at all a frequent using data. So you just keep it in the system, but it is not a frequent usage. For that only, we just mentioned these things. Okay. Then the other thing, allow blob anonymous access. That means if you store this data, that you want to store a lot of files in your storage account. But what is going to happen? Sometimes you want to make it as a private one. In the other case, somebody else is also want to access that file from your account and also what you can do, you can make it as a blob one. For that only we can give this disable and enable. So first I just make it as the disable one only. Okay, so I didn't change anything there. Now, what I am going to do, I am going to create a folder or a directory under my storage area. Okay, so this is my storage area, that is Maria FDP storage. You can see I just click on the containers in the left side. In the data storage area, there is an option called container. I just click on this container to create subfolders in the storage area or enabling some folders. We want to create some folders in the storage area. So you can see some options are there. Now I just click on this container option. So you can see new container. Whenever you want to create a new folder, you can click on this area, that is container. Okay. So here you can see the pop-up window in which they tell us to enter some name for the container. Okay, so I just give it as storage 1. Okay, storage 1. And you can see my access. What is my access level? Now, by default, it is in the private only. That means these files can't, or these folders can't be accessed by anyone else. I can only access these folders, these files. Okay, so I just click on this create option. Now you can see a new folder is created in the name storage 1 in my account. That means storage account. That is Maria FDP storage. Okay. And you can see the anonymous access level, whether it is in a private level, accessing protocol level, or it is in the public level, or anyone else can access that. Okay. So now you can see the change. Now what I am going to do, I am just trying to change the access level. Okay, how it is possible? Again, I am going to the overview. Now I just click on this blob anonymous access. So it is now in the disabled format. Now I am going to change it into enabled format. For that, I am just clicking in the disabled format and I am going to change the disabled into an enabled one. Now you can see this is the, you can see the blob, allow blob anonymous access. Now I am changing that case into enabled one and I want to save here. Okay, so I can just okay, so now I am make it as enabled one and I want to save this. Okay, for enabling the services, it will take little time. Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, sorry to disturb you, ma'am. How to get onto this configuration part?
Okay. For that, what we are doing in the left, in the overview option, you can see blob services. Inside that, there is an option blob anonymous access. You just click on this option. Now, I changed that disabled into enabled format. Whenever you want to change the option, you can just click here. Okay.
Okay.
So you can
Okay.
see. You can
Yeah.
see allow blob anonymous and you can make it as disabled or enabled. Now I changed that into enabled one.
Right, ma'am.
Okay.
Then we click save.
Again, I
Thank
am
you.
just clicking the container. Okay. So now you can see the storage one and I am going to create one more folder. Okay. So I just give that name as storage 2. Okay. So I can, you can see in the previous case, we can't do anything here. It is in the disabled format only, but now we can change here, right? So now it is by default, it is in the private format. That means nobody else can access that. But now I can change because I am enabled the service. So what I can do that I can just click here to make it as a blob one. That means whenever you want to access some applications or whenever you are running some applications here, if you want to connect these data, the data which is stored in this area, definitely it is possible right now. Okay. For that, we can make it as blob and we can click on this create option. So you can see the difference. The previous one, it is a private one. That means nobody else can access for accessing these. That means if some application is running, it is not possible to access the data or files which is stored under the storage one. But now the second storage is make it as a block means if you are running some application, definitely you can connect the data or file inside the storage area to that application. That is possible now. So these things are done. These features are available in the cloud service and you can actually share some files with some application. You can share some tables with an application or with the virtual machines. Everything is possible here. So this is the basic idea about a storage account. I hope everybody might create this storage account for you, right? So any challenges on this? Okay. So, oh, no, okay. Ma'am, you just try. I hope there is no issues for you. If any issues, you can just post here so that we can just see. Okay, okay. So this is how we can store our files and data in the, and I can show you. That means whenever I click on this, you can see. That means if you want to upload something, you can see right now. You can see there is an option. When I click, you can, what I am trying to do, I can upload some data. That means you can see in the storage 1 and storage 2, we can upload some data. When I click on that storage 1 folder, you can see some options. And so you can see upload options whenever you want to upload some data, make some backups of the files and all. What you can do, you can okay, so you can make the details of that and all. So what we can do, so I just try to create some upload some HTML file here, so you can see the test.html. It's an text file only, so you can see the uploaded file here. Okay, so you can click on the upload option. So under this folder, this file is created. Okay, so likewise, whenever you want to, but still it is in the private format. And you just see initially your folder, you don't want to share that folder with anyone else. So make it as a private one. Then after sometimes you want to share that folder with anyone else, that is also possible. How it is possible? By clicking this context menu option, you can see an option like change access level. So you can just click on that access level and make it as a blob one. That is also possible. Okay, so you can see the change. Now I am trying to make this folder also in the blob format instead of that private one. So you can see the difference. Okay, so now you can see both the storage areas are is created as a blob one. Okay, so similarly we can upload the files, the folders. So you can see that I can just upload some file. I just upload this image here. So you can see that image is going to upload here. So everything is possible. Okay, so this is how we can
Ma'am,
create the,
ma'am,
yes, ma'am.
excuse me. Ma'am, I'm not getting this option of upload. Instead, I am getting when I'm clicking on storage 2, it's showing this request is not authorized to perform this
Okay,
operation
that
using
is
this
why,
permission.
yes, ma'am, only because you are not enabled the blob. Okay, for that,
Okay.
what you want to do? You want to go to overview and here you can see blob anonymous access option is there. Now it should be in the disabled format, right? Is it in the disabled format?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. What you can do, you can just click on that disabled and in that you can see allow blob anonymous access. It is in the
No,
disabled
that
format now.
I have already enabled it. When you were doing it, I have enabled it. Sorry. So it's showing enabled.
Enabled. Okay, then you can just wait because sometimes if the network is not active one, then it will take little bit time to enable.
Okay, ma'am.
Definitely. Okay. After that, you can just check that because after sometimes what you can see in that folder option, you can see there is a change access level. You can just click here, right? So in the private case, you can just click here and you can click on the change access level and you can make it as a blob word.
Yes, I did that, ma'am. That I have done. But what you were getting after clicking the storage one, upload option, I was not getting that option.
That means there is no upload option. You mean that?
Yes, only the upload option. This I have done all these steps. I've done these steps. It is working for me.
Okay, so if it is just a folder, definitely there may be an upload option. And the change access level is also there. Can you refresh that so that
Okay.
it may
Yes,
resolve?
I'll do that. I'll do that.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Now it's
so,
there. Now it's there.
okay, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so this is how we can create the folder and how we can upload the files or upload the folder. Everything is possible. And when we try to run some application in the cloud, if we want to connect these files into that application, that is also possible here. Okay, so this is all about the storage area. And a lot of services are also available about the other things are also there, but this is the basic concept. Okay, so I hope it is clear for you. If you still you are facing any challenges, you can just tell us. Okay, so that means the block level changes only according to our requirement. Whenever if we make that folder as a private one, that means nobody else want to access our folder, then we can make it as the private one. Or whenever we want to connect that folder details or the file details to an application or to our virtual machines or to anywhere else, definitely we can make it as a blob one or other one. Okay. So according to our requirement, we can change the access level, because we all know that this is a public platform. Everybody is going to join here. A lot of people are using some applications, using some virtual machines. So if the data is relevant, that means if it is a sensitive one, please make it as the private one only. Otherwise, if you want to share with someone else or some other application, we can make it as the blob one. So according to our requirement, we can change the access level. So I hope up to this it is clear for you.
Ma'am, we
Yes.
have to give permission for the entire storage account. Then only we can make changes in access level at for the container, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, we can enable, but still we can make that folder as a private one. Yes. We can enable the entire, but still we can maintain our specific folders as a private one. You can see that. If we want to make these folder as a private one, what we can do, we can just change the access level and make it as a private one. Not necessary to create the entire folder as a public one or the blob one. Definitely we can create some specific folders in the private format. If we are enabled that also, then also we can do that.
Container, no, to change the access level for the for folder level, we for the container we have to give a permission, right?
Yes. Yes,
Ah.
ma'am.
Ma'am, what is hot and what is cool that X in that folder?
Okay, so you can see when I click on this folder, you can see that means when I click on this folder and the overview, you can see here it is a cold or hot like that. Okay, that means here you can see it is a hot one. I just make it as the hot one. Hot means frequently using data. Because if we are uploading a lot of data and we just continuously uploading the data and we didn't using that data, means what they are trying to do, they are trying to replace the data. Okay, so and it is there, no worries, it will be there. But what we are trying to do, we are, if we are not using the data, then please refresh that data. That means we are categorizing our data according to our usage. If we want to use it frequent one, then keep it as a hot one. And if we are not that much frequent usage data, then keep it as a cool one. Then again, other two categories are there, then cold and active. So that means if we are not at all frequently used data, we can make it as the archive one. That means we are just keeping the file system as that means it is not frequently used and make it a separate one, and we are keeping that for 180 days and all. So that means we are not frequently using data. So initially itself we mentioned to the cloud, it is not a frequent data, accessing data. So the classification is according to the access of that data, how frequent we are using that data, how frequent we are using that file. We just mentioned it as hot, cool, cold, and archive.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay, so ma'am, no worries, sir, no worries, because we already provided, I just upload that file here also in the chat also, so that you can see all the steps we are mentioning in that document, how you can create the virtual machine, how you can create the Linux virtual machine and also the Windows virtual machine. We are providing the steps along with the screenshots of each step. So definitely you can see, that means you can just go through that document and do the same process. No worries. Okay, so once we create it, then I don't know. That means I hope it is not possible, because initially itself they tell us to create as a unique name, right? So you just imagine after sometimes we want to change that name. You already assign that specific area with that name, right? So that is not that much possible and all. That means for changing that or okay. That I just click here, you can see that. Because we already keep the names and we are already, that means access some specific location with that name only, right? Okay, so I hope it is clear for you up to this. So actually, now we are going to see the basic concept of database. I hope everybody might know about what is database and all.
Maria,
Yes.
actually, Arun Jerome sir having some issues with the virtual machine login. I think sir can, I will, sir, are you there, sir? Arun sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, what's the issue, sir? You are not able to log into which virtual machine, Windows or Linux, sir?
Right now, if you have access to the system, then I have created one VM, that is Arun Joram.
Your virtual machine is not there because we are clearing the VMs daily actually.
No, just now I have created one more. I know that it will be cleared by yesterday's all VM will be cleared. So I have created
Okay.
just now a VM, but still when I connect it, it is it says that I'm unable to connect because of some problems. I don't
I
know
think
what.
some firewall. I think some firewalls maybe due to some firewall issues, and we have to disable the firewalls. Enable some firewalls have enabled in your system. Actually, that may be the problem, sir. Both the
Yesterday,
VMs having the issue, sir. Both the Linux and this one Windows VMs having the issue.
Linux I haven't tried. I have only gone for this one only VM without Linux.
That means the
Okay.
Windows Linux machine. Okay, okay.
Windows virtual machine, right, sir?
So what they say, what the screen says, is
can
one
you
second.
please put a screenshot here?
The screen says the logon attempt failed. The credentials that were used to connect to 98.70.32.12 did not work. Please enter new credentials.
Sir, actually, what you have provided your VMs, the credentials you have for username and password provided in the VM, right? When we are creating the VM in the Azure cloud, that same thing you have provided, right, sir?
Yes, exactly same password, same this username.
Username you have provided.
Yes.
I think Maria is. I think it's due
Yes,
to some
that
server issue.
maybe-
I think. No,
Yes,
firewall
maybe.
issue.
Yes. Otherwise, some mistakes with that any character or not. Normally, it won't be create any problem there because you already connected. You got the public IP and also whether
Actually,
you
ma'am, I have
download
been trying this from day one, but then I have gone
Oh,
through this firewall and
sir.
all, but
Okay, sir. Whether you download that RDP?
yes, I have downloaded the RDP file, and then after that, when I run that RDP file,
Sir,
it says
sir, actually we have some EY volunteer will come. If he is joining, we will be discussing after his session. Actually, Shashank, sir.
yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, whether we have time to discuss this or already EY volunteer has joined.
He hasn't joined yet. You can discuss the things and I'll let you know when to stop.
Okay, fine, Shashank sir. So, can I give permission, Arun sir, to share the screen, Shashank?
Yes, sure. Please.
Yes, sir. Can you please share your screen, sir? I will provide you the permission to share the screen.
Okay, sure.
Arun sir.
And in between, Manoj sir, in Azure Cloud, the renaming of this is not allowed. They are not providing that provision. That's why we can't do that. I hope it is clear for you.
Arun sir, can you please share your screen?
Yes, ma'am.
I
Yes,
have
ma'am.
provided you the permissions.
Is my screen visible to you, ma'am?
Yes, yes,
Yes,
yes. It is
yes.
visible. Visible.
Yes. So this is the virtual machine that I have created.
So yes, yes, virtual
Arun
machine.
Joram. And this
Oh,
one is
fine.
the storage. Storage is okay, working fine. In storage, I have even stored, uploaded some file also. It is working fine. But then when I go to, sorry, when I go to the virtual machine,
This is storage. Yeah. Okay.
this is the virtual machine. And if I connect,
Yes, connect.
uh,
Select.
and then I download the RDP. This is the new one. I have tried this multiple times, and I
Okay, sir.
give my
Okay.
password.
Connect. Actually, sir, can you go to more choices? That is your credential. More choices. More choices. Below,
on
you
that
can
more
click more
choice.
choices, sir.
Okay, yes.
After remember me, you can click more choices there.
Yes, more sources. I have only two sources.
You
One
said
is-
different. You said different. Actually, the username should be your virtual machine name, sir. You are logging to some other username. Actually, that's
You
the
just
problem. You said
use a
different account.
different use a
Account. You said
different
different
account.
account.
on
You
that.
have to provide the username of your virtual machine VM. Username
It is
which
already
you have.
there, sir. It is already there. You can see admin username. It is there in the connect.
It
That
is
means
there,
that.
ma'am. It is there. This one is the username.
Okay. Then also you can just
No, no, I
take that
don't share.
different
No,
account.
I don't share. Space is not allowed, right? I think it may not be the username. Username of the VM created, sir.
You
Which
can
when we
see
are
that,
create
sir. You give the name as Arun Jaram 23. That is the username. Okay,
username.
sir.
I don't.
Please give that username and connect that.
Sir, in your system, below public IP address, you can able to. No, 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 sir. Go to more choices, sir. More choices. More choices. Go to more choices, sir.
Yes,
More
sir. This
choices.
is
Use a different account.
okay.
Use a different account.
Then, sir, you can just
Copy
move that
the
window. Yes,
just
move that
move
window
that
and take
window.
that. Yes, yes, yes.
I don't. Can you please just move that window, sir? Just move that window.
He's
The
not
Arun
that, sir.
23, sir.
Which one, ma'am?
Sir, can you please just move that window? We need to see the admin username actually.
Username.
Okay.
That-
Just move it, sir.
Yeah.
I
Sir,
don't
you can just copy
actually
that.
ARUN, just copy it, sir. ARUNJUUAM 23. Just copy from there, sir.
Okay. Okay. Fine.
This same username. Connect. More choices, sir. More choices. Use a different account. Paste is there, sir.
It is not getting pasted.
Pasted. Then you have to type. Just move that. We can look into it. Type some spell. Not it is Jerome. Some difference is there. Arun. No. Spelling is not that, sir. Can you please just move that window, sir? Then we can able to see that. Yes. ARUN JOUAM, I think. JOUAM 23. Fine. Then you have to provide the password which you have provided as the password of the Windows.
And you please ensure that the password and username is correct when you on the creation time.
Same thing. Okay. Yes, it is. Now it is connecting, sir.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, now
Yes,
we
sir,
are
it
logged
is
into the
working.
Windows virtual machine, sir.
Yes, sir, it is. The interface is already there.
Some time may take because we have to prepare the things as we are preparing our desktop. So it's ready. You can right click and create a new folder there.
Okay, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Now it's working. Thank you, ma'am.
Now it's working.
Thank
Okay,
you.
fine. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
So I think we can move to that database and data warehouse, right, Diana?
Shashank?
Diana, we can continue. I guess the expert hasn't joined yet.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
Vishnu, are you there? Vishnu, if you have joined. Vishnu. Okay, Diana, we can continue. I guess he hasn't joined yet.
Shashank, you might like to write to Pratima. Hope it will get sorted.
Okay, sure.
Thank you. So now we are going to see the basics of database and data warehouse. That what is database, what is data warehouse, why we are using that. So first we can see and we can create a database. Definitely some might already inquired about the database in the cloud and all. In that Excel sheet, somebody is already mentioned. Now we are going to see all those things. Okay. So I can just share my screen again. Okay, so now we are going to see what is database and what is data warehouse in the Azure cloud. Okay, we are first I give you an introduction. What is warehouse? What is database? Then we can directly move on to the hands-on session. No worries for that. Okay, so data warehouse. What is data warehouse? Whenever we want to store a lot of data in the cloud area. Okay, in the cloud area, and we want to manage the data, we want to store the large amount of data in specific formats and all. Definitely that is possible. Okay, so that is the data warehousing, and we already
Maria?
saw the yes.
Sorry to interrupt. Vishnu has joined.
Okay.
Vishnu, are you there?
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, Vishnu.
So I think we just had some issues. Just joined.
Oh. Yes, I have made you the presenter, Vishnu, and just give me 2 minutes. So Diana and Mario, we will continue with the voluntary session now, and we can continue our session after it gets over.
Okay, sure, Shashank.
Okay, sure. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, Shashank. It's visible.
Okay. A very good morning to all the faculty members present here. My name is Shashank, and I'm from EduNet Foundation. And I welcome the team from EY GDS. I also welcome all the faculty members in this voluntary engagement session on cloud. I thank you all for joining the session, and to facilitate the session, we have an esteemed expert from EY, Mr. Vishnu Kumar Babu. Mr. Vishnu Kumar Babu has close to 17 years of experience in the technology industry with focus on strategy, design, and delivery of digital transformation solutions to the numerous clients across the globe. Experience in leading multi-million programs and teams across multiple technologies for successful delivery of transformation projects. He is also proficient in Node.js, Angular, and Spring Boot. Mr. Vishnu Kumar has a proven track record of delivering robust and scalable web applications. He is well versed in cloud computing platforms like AWS and Azure, and with a deep understanding of designing, deploying, and optimizing cloud-based solutions. Mr. Vishnu is a proficient practitioner of DevOps methodologies, boasting extensive experience with tools like Jenkins, Azure DevOps, Terraform, and Kubernetes. I welcome you, Vishnu. In this engaging session, Mr. Vishnu will deep dive into the world of cloud computing concepts, sharing invaluable insights, best practices, and real-life examples. I hope all the faculty members will have the opportunity to learn about cloud capabilities, understanding its potential impact on business intelligence, and explore the tricks and tips to maximize its effectiveness. So I hand over the session to Vishnu. Vishnu, over to you.
Hi, Shashank. I've got Mageshwaran as well. Okay, with me. So I think he should have his
Who?
Mageshwaran Venkatraman. So he's also joining with me. So we both are going to facilitate the session today.
Okay, okay. Oh. Okay. Next we have Mr. Maheshwaran, who is who is working as a senior manager in November with EY GDS, and is a pragmatic, innovative thinking, hands-on, positive, eager to learn person with a passion for software development. He communicates easy to team members as well as people from the business. At the end of the day, he wants to build working software that the customer is happy with. Maheshwar is a versatile full stack developer. He has extensive experience Java middleware and JavaScript front-end programming, designing the architecture or coaching a Scrum team, but he always wants to work with a focus on developing high quality software. He is specialized in full stack development with database, Java and JavaScript, coaching the agile process, communication, banking, and with the telecommunication. I welcome you, Mahesh. I welcome you both, and I hope all the faculty members will get some insights on cloud from you. I hand over the session to Mahesh and Vishnu for their. Yes, Mahesh and Vishnu.
Thanks, Shashank. Okay, so hi all. Good morning. As Shashank, myself, Vishnu. Okay. So I think today, before we kind of get into the cloud, right? So why we talk about cloud, right? Okay, everywhere we talk about cloud, right? Whatever we do, we see there is some involvement of code in anything to do with technology, right? The cloud is the first choice, right? And why is that? Okay, first thing, right? Next thing we want to see at a aspect from a market share as well, right? Okay, why is that we have to invest ourselves learning cloud? Okay, first thing, right? What is it we are going to get out of it, right? So first thing we wanted to share is like the cloud spend from a cloud provider perspective, right? So this is a report for Q2 2023, right? You can see like for only for the Q2, right? 65 billion has been the cloud spent. Okay, just the spend with the CSPs itself, with Amazon, with AWS at 32, Azure 22%, and Google Cloud, right? So typically industries across the globe, right, have spent around 65 billion only for the cloud. That's only for one quarter. Okay, so this tells the amount of cloud used, okay, by each of the enterprises, right? So that is the first aspect. I think the next one, what we want to show is this. Sorry. Okay. Give me 1 second. Yeah. So next we wanted to discuss on, is my screen visible again? Sorry, I have to share it again. So in the next aspect is like, what is the future of cloud, right? Or more from a financial standpoint, right? Or from a revenue standpoint, right? We expect that, okay, by 2030, the cloud spend across the organization, right? Starting from the enterprises even to the mid-sec organization, right? It's going to be 3 trillion market. Okay, if you see, this is a report from McKinsey, right, where they have told it's going to be around 3 trillion market in 2030. Okay, so currently we are not even at a 1 trillion mark at this moment, but it expected to grow exponentially, that we would reach a 3 trillion market share. Okay, so that has been the key reason that, okay, why cloud has been going. Right? All the enterprises want to adopt cloud. Okay, since they are adopting it, we see a market share of 3 trillion. Right? So this is going to create a lot of opportunities, okay, for IT organizations, okay, not only Indian or the global IT organization, right, to use this 3 trillion market share. Okay, in this 3 trillion market share, right, okay, the areas how this is going to be, how this is more of a futuristic, right? Okay, the reason for cloud adoptions would be like, one, to digitalize the enterprise operations. Okay, the current operation, the way they do, right, it could be maybe non-digitalized. They want to digitalize, so we are seeing around the 311 billion for that. Okay, then IT resilience, okay, to make it more resilient, right? Since lot of industries after COVID, all things have gone into a digitalization, or IT has been their major way of providing the services, right? So they need a resilience on it. So that could be one reason. Next is the cost optimization, right? The current cost on the way they manage their legacy systems is so high. So they wanted to adopt cloud. Okay, so this contributes about to 873 billion, right? Okay, just they're managing their existing IT landscape on the cloud, right? They're going to spend down 8733 billion. The rest all is going to be more for their innovations, okay, building some new innovations, building new products, right? See, each of the industries are going through a disruption now. Okay, whatever the industry you talk about, right? Let it be banking, retail, okay, even the mid segment, right, is going through a quite a bit this one, right? Transformation. They're trying to, okay, there is a transformation going through, and they wanted to use cloud as the key for any of these transformation. As digitalization is the key for most of this transformation, right? They wanted to use, whenever they talk about this, cloud is the first choice which comes in, right? So a lot of new products getting launched, okay, and they wanted to use the hyper scaling of the cloud, right? So which they see around 1.5 trillion of market share. Okay, then the rest all, right, new technologies. Okay, each cloud provider gives come up with their new technologies, right? So that we see around a 6 million, okay, six more than 600 billion, right? So this is how the market is going to change in the 2013. These are the areas where industries or the organizations are going to spend from a IT spend. Okay, so these are the 5 or 6 areas, right? Your operations, managing our digitalizing operation, and enhancing your IT resiliency, your IT cost optimization, then building new products, okay? Then building new products, more adopting innovations and new technology. So these are the areas where we are going to spend from a cloud perspective. Okay? So that is the key reason why we emphasize more on cloud. Okay, each one should be cloud as well, right? Because we expect this 3 trillion it's going to create a lot of opportunities, not only from a jobs perspective, new startups, okay, new industries, new avenues for a lot of other folks, right? So that is why we want everyone to be upskill on cloud, okay, early adopters of some of the cloud technologies, okay? And the cloud at least from the way the industry is going, right, next 2 or 3 years, cloud would be essential skills like any other soft skills you need in a IT or in any other industry, right? Cloud would be essential skills for most of the jobs. Okay? So that is from a market perspective. Okay, so next is, I think we already touched upon, right? This is the revenue across the each of these cloud. Okay, this is also going to increase as and when a lot of customers adopt, right? Okay, so if you see, right, the top 3 players, right, it's primarily AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud, right? Or at least the top 2, if you see, right, AWS, Azure, they take about 50% of the market share, which is quite this, right? And the way they innovate and bring on new products, right, they kind of enhance the customer experience. It's great. You see, right? I think there are a lot of the rest of the other clouds need to catch up with AWS and Azure to even compete that. But Google is, it's not far from all those innovations, but the way they operate and the areas they want to focus, it's quite different from the rest of the other CSPs. Okay, so these are the 2 aspects which you wanted to give as introduction. What could be the reason for everyone to invest time on cloud, learn cloud, and become a SME on it? Okay, so that's the first aspect, and the next aspect is what we wanted to talk about. Okay, how do we go about this, right? Okay, see, cloud is going to essential. How do we go about, right? People come from diverse a little bit come from diverse backgrounds, different skill sets, okay, different area of expertise, right? How would they go about cloud, okay, or how would they start their cloud journey, right? Cloud upskilling, or if they want to even get interested in cloud, right? Okay, what are the various avenues, or what are the avenues which you can explore? Okay? I would first start with, right, okay, I think the best thing would be like start looking into certain, like a lot most of these CSPs, right, I've got the certifications, okay, which not only give the industry recognition, also which gives you a core fundamentals understanding, right, of this cloud. Okay, so this is for the Microsoft Azure certification, right? So anyone who wants to get expertise on any of this cloud, right, I would request them to go through this journey, right? First, start from the fundamentals. Okay, these are the fundamental levels of certification you have got, right? You have got the Azure artificial intelligence fundamentals, Azure fundamentals, then the data fundamentals. Okay, depending upon the area you wanted to explore, right? If you want to be a more typical cloud person, right, then Azure fundamentals would be a good starting point. If you got a good starting point. If you are more into data and artificial intelligence, then Azure AI fundamentals and data fundamentals will be a good choice. So once you have got this fundamentals, right? Okay, so fundamentals mostly talk about the key services, what you have got on Azure. Okay, how would you use that? What kind of business benefits it brings in? It doesn't get into too deep into any of those technical aspects of it. It touches only the just the top of the surface. It doesn't go deep into it. Okay? So, and I wouldn't say it's completely technical. I would say 25% of it would be technical. Rest all it's more focusing on your cloud, the base fundamentals of cloud. Yeah, once you have like achieved any of those fundamentals, right, I would expect folks to get into the associate level. Okay, this is where it becomes more interesting. And so this talks about like depending upon the area you wanted to go, right? Maybe some few might be interested in being a developer, architect, okay, administration. I've seen a lot of folks are now these days are interested in doing security, cyber, right? Okay, more into hackers and cybers, right? So security would be a good choice. Then on data scientist and database as well, right? So depending upon the interest, they can pick one. Okay, these are more deep dive into some of the core sessions, right? For example, Azure administration would talk about how do you manage the Azure infrastructure, the service in Azure. Developer talks about like how would you go about building solutions, or how do you build and implement solution using the Azure services. Right? Depending upon the interest, right, I pick choose one, right? And this would need some hands-on as well, right? So there are various labs and other things which comes along with it. Okay, so as Azure themselves have given a lot of sessions, okay, a lot of recordings for it. YouTube has got a lot of videos as well, right? So if you can go through, right, we should be able to crack it. And I think these are, I wouldn't say like quite, you would need a hands-on experience on it, right? You would still need some amount of hands-on experience. So you can use the Azure free subscription to try some of these services there. Okay. So ideally, if the fundamental to start with fundamentals, right, basics of any computing is fine. Okay, basics of computer should be fine. But if you want to get into associate, right, you need to have some prerequisites. For example, for Azure administrator, anyone who has got good background on infrastructure, servers, right, would be good. For developers, if they come from any if they've got skill on any particular programming language, it doesn't need to be specifically anything like Java, .NET, even Python. Any programming language should be fine. Right? So then for security as well, right, coming from a security background would be good. So if for associate, right, typically if you've got some background, it's going to be little more easier. The journey is going to be. The next one is the expert level, right? Okay, where this is the expert level. Okay, it focuses it kind of like the breadth and depth of the areas what covered in the certification is quite high. So anyone who has taken the associate, right, I would say at least spend 5 to 6 months minimum to leverage a lot of concepts within the Azure. Okay, start working on it. Okay? Then if you can take up the expert level, right, this makes you kind of if you can clear those certifications, this gives you a good understanding how cloud is done, how should we use it, and that would be a good starting point, right? But one pitfall what we notice, like people who do a lot of certification, they kind of lack the hands-on experience or right? So I would recommend, like, whenever you go through these certifications, keep yourself updated on hands-on. Okay, keep yourself updated. Okay? Try some hands-on. Don't go through only the videos and take up the certifications. So this is from a Azure standpoint, right? So I will have Magesh to talk about the AWS side. Okay, how do we? I would say typical journey would be same, but AWS is yeah, Magesh, go ahead.
Yeah, I think the same. The journey will be the same. Nothing is different. So as Vishnu said previously, right? So first you need to complete your practitioner. So first you need to understand what is AWS, what are all the different services that are available. So those things initially, that practitioner will give you about a whole picture of your clouds. So once that practitioner, you get the certificate of practitioners, then you can think about the expert certificate, meaning it's an associate certificate where you need to think about which path you wanted to go through. Because if you select, I will start from SysOps administrator, developer, solution architect, data engineer. If you complete all the certificate, doesn't help you because they ask you where you want to grow. So I want to go through the developer. Then you need to choose the path first developers. Once you choose the developer, then you need to go through this developer related certificate up to the expert level so that you understand what is going on the developer side, because you need to understand this all the services, and then on the CDK AWS CDK level, so that you need to incorporate those the CDK into your in your development environment, so that you can use all the managed services. You start from your develop coding perspective. So the developer is a little bit of depth level, so that you should understand in all the services, not in the basically if you see there are more than 100 services are available, managed services, but we are not using all 100 services. We are typically using some project. It depends on that. For example, you talks about data lakes or data related stuff. There are certain managed services are available, and there is a typical microservices application. They have set of micro related managed services are available. So you need to those services you should understand, and then you should do some POC or something like that. Then you can understand hands-on your that related managed services. So then you can take with the solution architect level and then DevOps engineer. Basically, when if you are saying I'm a developer or I'm a solution architect or whatever, but DevOps engineering is literally it's very much important nowadays. So because that is talks about the automation perspective. So you done this development. So every time there is a changes happen, how are we going to integrate with automatically? So that is that nowadays the artificial intelligence is coming, and then there are DevOps engineering, there is ML ops is coming. There are a lot of little different steps are coming. It's all talks about automatic way. So if anything happen, how they will notify you, how that will instead of notification, the initially what happened was, if there is a pipeline breaks or there is a problem in a deployment, you will get an alert automatically, either by your collaboration chat or by email or by SMS or something. The mode of communication you can configure based on that the managed services. You will get the notification. That is the initial stage. Now the stages are totally different. Now the technology is every time evolving, right? So now they're saying, okay, if there is an issues, that managed services itself is going to fix that issues. Initially we don't need to put, for example, the midnight. Okay, so if anything has happened, they will send a notification to you, but you didn't pick up the phone, or you didn't see this message. So what will happen? So that's the second stage is now they're automatically fixing these issues by on behalf of you, and then it will notify, though this is the issue, this issue has been fixed like this. So that's the way now this the technology is evolving, the automation way is moving towards that. So DevOps is pretty much important, which area you choose in the cloud perspective. So please understand the DevOps perspective, and then understand this different kind of AIOps and then MLOps or something like that. So those things will help you more on that perspective on that. So this is basically a different kind of certification. AWS also has it. Yeah. Over to you, Vishnu. Thanks.
Thanks, Magesh. Okay. So moving on, right? I think we want to get into it. So this is for the GCP, right? So each of those cloud providers, if you see, right, they've got this foundation, associate, and professionals, right? So foundation would be the starting point. Then you get an associate, and professional is where you become a more like SME or expertise on that. So it is same across the structure remains the same across the each of those clouds. The certifications and the labels of them would change. Okay, so that is on that. I don't want to deep dive into it. Right? Moving further, right? I think one other interesting thing we want to talk about is the Kubernetes, right? The cloud native or the Kubernetes, right? So now I think a lot of the customers, the key reasons to adopt cloud is the to use the cloud native, the key cloud native services, right? And Kubernetes is one of those services, right? and we see a lot of requests from customers and also from a solution standpoint, right? This has become the core of a lot of the digital solution, right? Like Kubernetes is the core of the lot of digital solutions which we are building, at least for and the adoption is going to be quite high, right? So that's where, so this is a typical Kubernetes certification, right? What you are what you got in the market, right? So you got the administrator, developer, security specialist, then you got the associate, right? So we thought, okay, so along with your any one cloud. So if you want to recommend, or if you want to see if you want to have a cloud as a career, right? So I would say, like, pick up any one cloud, okay, get your expertise on it, clear the certificates, get the hands-on expertise on that. Then picking up Kubernetes, right, would be a value add, or would be a good combo to go with. Okay? Cloud plus Kubernetes would be a kind of the future what we see. Okay? So just wanted to touch upon on that for a
Yeah.
on it. Yeah.
Yeah, just for this little bit add to this Kubernetes, right? So everyone understand what is current trends is everything is going to the containerized environment. So for example, you are using Windows laptops, okay? So you develop some application, you tested in Windows, but you wanted to host this application in Linux. So after you hosted the application in Linux, they're saying a lot of issues is coming. So what will happen? You need to have that Linux environment in your local workstation, so that you will run the application in Windows and then run the application in Linux and the Ubuntu, then test and then push it, right? So how do you do that in your Windows laptop? So that's why the containerization is coming to the picture. So you can run the image through the Windows image, or you can also run it through the Linux image. So in your local workstation, test it and push it over. So it will, this is number one for in your local day-to-day's work. So once you push it to this containerized environment in your cloud, right? So what will happening is one node, you choose any node, any OS, whatever it that we called as node, any OS has multiple containers. You create multiple containers, and then inside it you can run a different, but each pod is very minimal pod. It's a short living pods, because each pod will talks about one responsibility. So if you run through the pods in a single responsible, so then the consuming this memory and everything will be very low. It will work what you want, and then if there is a scalable replica set. So once you get into that detail level of Kubernetes container certification, you will came to know that a different kind of the terms, replica set, all the stuff. If one part is down, automatically other parts will be pick it up. So you will see that those kind of stuff nowadays. So since you are talking about the data lake or data, all the stuff, right? So that is really helpful if you make it through a containerized, because the data lakes, you never know how many data is coming per day. So the lot of data, for example, if you're doing some credit card processing, the data will be loaded it in every day night, right? You never know. Today is it's a normal day, and if it is a Diwali or if it is a New Year, there is a n number of meaning that data is loading it, right? So that day times the container will help you the scaling everything. So that's why, even though if you are understand any clouds, Kubernetes container is very much important to understand, to show, to put your footprint on this. Yeah. Thanks, Vishnu.
Thanks, Paresh. So I think as you go further, right? Okay, so I wanted to talk about uh, typical kind of a container architecture, right? How would you kind of go about share my screen? Okay, so wanted to discuss about this containers, right? So I think most of the way we evolved, right? We are using the machines, we were using the kind of the data centers on-prem. Then we got into the virtualizations where we use the virtual machines, right? And next we started using the containers, right? Okay, containers running, right? And some of the key container solutions are Docker. Okay, Docker is the container engine which we use. Then we have got the Kubernetes, right? The Kubernetes or the K8, what we call it as more a solution from the Google themselves, right? So this has been the de facto standard for any container solutions which we are running. Okay, so what you see on this is a typical architecture, right? Typical architecture which you when you want to adopt a container solution on Azure. Okay, so I'll start from the I'll start from the left to right, just for to make it more sense, right? So this is a typical three-tier architecture, right? Okay, so you got a three-tier where we have got these data stores, your external data store. So this in this case it is more the SQL database or your Cosmos DB where you are going to persist your database. Then your front end and your back end, right? More your front end and back end services, both of them gets deployed on your Kubernetes. Okay, depending upon this, right? Both your front end and back end would be deploying got deployed on Kubernetes. Okay, so typically they gets deployed onto the Kubernetes cluster. Then you have got the load balancer, right? You would have your Azure load balancer, right? Which are the load balancer which redirects the traffic. Okay, so for example, let's take an example, right? If you're going to okay, let's take an example for Amazon, right? If you're going to the Amazon.in, right, it goes to the DNS, right? It goes to the global DNS. From there, it redirects it to the AWS load balancer. From the load balancer, it redirects a request to something called ingress controller. Okay. For example, if you want to look into the product catalog, right? So it will redirect this service to a product catalog service. So all this redirection, everything is done in the load balancer and the ingresses, and the complete solution is deployed onto the Kubernetes cluster. Then you have the database where all your persistent database is stored. Okay, so this is your core solution of it, right? Then for effective management of this solution, right, you would have Azure Monitor, okay, which takes care of your runtime management of your solution. If one of
Vishnu,
the
we are not able to hear you properly. Hello.
Hello, can you hear me now? Hello.
Yeah, Vishnu, I can able to hear you properly.
Vishnu.
Hello. Hi, Shashank, can you hear me now?
Yes, Vishnu, we lost you in between. Your voice was not audible. Now you are properly audible.
Okay. Coming back to the container solution, right? So this front end and the back end services, right, form the core of your solution. Okay, which is developed by the developer. The other component, what you see is utility services, the monitor, right, which is for the effective management of your solution, right? So these are done by the DevOps engineer, or a SRE kind of a role who kind of manages solution for you. Okay, so this is the typical process in any enterprises. Then going about the development process, right? So we would use tools like Azure Pipeline, Azure DevOps or Azure Pipelines, right? Where we do the continuous the DevOps process, right? Starting from your continuous planning to continuous deployment. Right? So all these things through everything is, if you see in this case, right, everything is done through the Microsoft Azure itself. Okay, we don't use any other external services or anything. Right? Everything is done through Azure itself. So we will use the Azure pipeline where a developer would write a code. Okay, they would write a code. They push it into the Azure DevOps. Then that gets converted into a Docker image, pushed into the container registry. Then you would have a deployment pipeline which picks from this container registry and push it to your Kubernetes cluster. So this is the process how the solutions get developed and push it to the cluster. And what you see at the top is how your external users or the consumer of this application access this application. Okay. So this is one such example of how do you manage on Kubernetes. if you go a little further right, how do we do a similar solution on AWS as well? Okay, so AWS as well has got the equivalent components of how do you do it, right? So these are the typical components what you would need. Okay, what are the AWS, what are the cloud components you would require for managing any container solution, right? So first you would start with, you need a compute layer, then you would need a storage and database layer, then a application integration, then the networking and API, right? Then the developer tools, logging and monitor, right? These are the 6 basic components you would need to build any container or the Kubernetes based solution, right? So if you go further right, okay, we'll talk about this compute option. Okay, do you want to talk about this, guys? The
No, Vishnu, please you go ahead.
okay.
You already, yeah, thanks.
Yeah. Okay. So if you go a little further on this, right? So this is on the computer. We'll talk about each of those components. What could be the, what are the options we have got, and why do we need it, right? So first thing is the compute, the key thing. Okay, compute is nothing but the the compute layer or your the processing layer, right? So typically, if you see in AWS, right, for any container or microservices based architecture, right, you have got these are the solutions which you have got. You've got your Elastic Container Services, right, which is more a Amazon's own native version of container solution. Then they have got a Fargate, okay, which is again a more a serverless kind of a solution. Then you have got Elastic Beanstalk, which uses a typical very basic Docker runtime. Then they've got the Elastic Container Registry. Then the Kubernetes, right, the Elastic Kubernetes Services, which is more on the Kubernetes version, the Amazon's own Kubernetes version. Okay, so this is what the compute layer, right? You would need a compute layer first. Okay, so you can, these are the components which you have got. Okay, few customers, okay, they don't want to use any of this, right? The other way they use, like, they use the Amazon EC2 virtual machines and deploy their own Kubernetes platform on that as well. So that is more an extended version, more a complex kind of a setup you would go for. But typically, a lot of customers would choose, okay, from these and go with it, any one of them. Okay. And so this is the first thing. What do you choose your compute layer? What compute layer do you want to use? Okay. Then you kind of get into the what kind of the storage or database, okay, you would need for any such application, any microservice application, right? So depending upon the type of the data you're going to manage, you choose the database, right? For example, you need a more relation database, right? You would choose anything on Amazon RDS. If you want to use a more key value pair, more in memory database, you will go for Elasticsearch. Then your DynamoDB, right? More as a key, SQL or a key value kind of database, right? You will go for DynamoDB. Then if you got a more media files or any documents if you want to manage, right, you'd go for a S3 bucket. So depending upon the use case of your application, right, you could go for one of them or you can go for more than one. Okay, so a lot of the cases we have seen, right, some of the customers, so all 4 would be used. Okay, for example, they would have a lot of applications would have both the relation and non kind of the relation database, right? So they would go for RDS to manage some of their data, right? They will go for RDS for to speed up the process, the caching layer, Elastic Cache, and to store files, they will go for Amazon S3. So typically, I've seen most of the customers you use more than one database here. Okay, so once you have chosen your database, right, then we get into the application integration, right? So this is a key part in any microservices, right? So ideally, microservices are kind of breaking your complex business process or your business use case into micro kind of a more a single unit kind of a services, right? So since you have broken down that services, right, you would need a lot of integrations between them. Okay, so for example, let's take an example, right? Okay, the Amazon itself, right? If you go into the product, right? So Amazon, the solution itself has got various, it's split into various solutions. You've got the products, you've got the payments, you've got the notifications, okay, your supply chain. All those are broken down into each of different microservices. Each runs as a different unit. Okay, but the integration or the communication between those microservices related with the products and the payments, right? Okay, happen through any of those kind of integration. There are integration solution. Okay, it could be through a, so SQL is nothing but a simple queue service, right? Where once you purchase a product, right, they place it in a queue, and the delivery or the supply chain of it, right, picks it from the queue and does the delivery of it. Okay, so they could place it in a queue or pick it from a queue and do it, right. So that is on SQS. If you want to, this is more the SNS, right, the notification services, right. Once your delivery is out, okay, well, you kind of get the notifications, right, to your phone or email, right. So that happens to your SNS, okay, notification services, right. Again, this is the Amazon MQ, the message queue. Again, the kind of the queuing services. Then your step functions as well, okay, which is more a orchestrator of these microservices. So these are the various types of integrations. Along with it, there are various other integrations as well, right? We have got the Kafka, we have got the Kinesis. These are various other integrations which is available in the AWS itself, okay, which you can use depending upon the use case. So this talks about the integration component. Okay, the next key component is your the networking and API, right? How do you route traffic? Okay, now you're breaking down your entire business logic into various services, right? So you have to establish a networking protocol so that they are reached to the right service, right? So these are the various services which you got. Okay, load balancing, okay, where elastic load balancing, Route 53, API and gateway, right? So I'll spend some time on this API gateway, right? So because this is a key solution when you build any microservices solution, microservice architecture. Because okay, for any microservice solution, you need to talk about authentication, right? How do you do the authentication, authorization, caching? So all those things, instead of the latest way of development is like, instead of putting all this logic into your application, right? These are now gets into the API gateway. So these are kind of externalized, right? All these authorization happens on your API gateway, and once the authentication session, you reach your containers. So they kind of the that is a pattern which is widely followed. Then your developer tools, right? These are the developer tools which enables you to deploy this microservice solution. So code build, code pipeline are the solution which you got on Amazon to develop this solution. Then we kind of get into the logging and monitoring side of it, right? Okay, how do we do the logging and monitoring of this entire solution? Okay, because a lot of times, right, when you do any payments or anything, right, something goes wrong, right? Okay, so this is where it gets flagged, okay, that there is some issues with it, right? Using this logging and monitoring solution, it gets flagged and the notification is sent to the right folk before even we do that. There have been some proactive measures which happens. Okay, so these are some examples of the logging and monitoring available in AWS. Okay, there are much more than these solutions which you would use in a container platform. So this is from is it any doubts or any inputs, any clarification? Feel free to ask. Okay. So if you forgot any, feel free to ask. Okay, so moving on, right? The next interesting thing which I want to discuss is on the CNCF, right? The Cloud Native Computing Foundation, right? So this is a key foundation, right, which manage a lot of the cloud native solutions, right? Okay, they kind of manages the standards, okay, the way you go about the cloud native solution, any cloud native solution, right, is primarily done by the uh, by this forum, right, cloud native, right. So we want to talk about some of the projects they have got, right, the tools and products they have got, right. So okay, sorry. Okay. So we'll go through some of the key solutions about this CNCF, right. I think I'll start with this Argo CD, right? Okay. So this is a key for any of your continuous deployment, right? So now you've got your platform, okay? See, one of the challenges which comes with the container platform is how do you manage the configurations, right? Okay, because you are talking about numerous virtual machines. Ideally, in a real world, right? You might be running hundreds of virtual machines with different configurations, different services on it, right? So the management of it, or management or the deployment of it, right, becomes more complex and challenging depending upon your solution, right? So that's the reason that we need, okay, just along with your container solution, container platform, right? You would need various tools and technologies to manage them in a effective way. Okay. So one such tool is the Argo CD, right? Okay, it's called as Argo, but it's typically referred as Argo CD. It is more a continuous deployment tool, okay? And it is built on the principles of GitOps. Okay? So GitOps is one of the emerging thing where we use the the Git repositories as your as a single source of truth for any configurations management. Okay, so the typical flow of any GitOps would be like, okay, you would manage your configurations, right? For example, one of the example I can give you is you got a you wanted to have 3 virtual machines running in your cluster, 3 virtual machines. So you would have these configurations checked in into your Git repositories. And okay, so automatically this Argo CD will be constantly polling your repository. Once you do any changes, right, it picks up those changes and goes to your container platform and synchronize it. Okay, for example, now it is running with 3. You want that change to 4. So you instead of changing it anywhere, right, you go into the Git, you go ahead and check out from your repository, increase it from 3 to 4. It automatically, the Argo CD picks up. Yeah, it automatically picks it up and it does the changes for you. So this kind of manages the your complex environment on containers. So it uses a GitOps, so where Git is your single source of truth, right? So not only for the infrastructure configuration, this has been used for a lot of application deployments as well. All your application deployments, everything goes through this Argo CD. Okay? So this is more a high matured state of managing your Kubernetes cluster. Okay, GitOps is the more managed way of with minimal human intervention. Okay, it goes with, okay, the only place is like you go into a Git, do your changes, then Git Argo CD takes it and manages for it. Okay, so that is one such tool is Argo CD. Okay, like next we talk about the Fluentd. Okay, if you want to talk about the Fluent bit.
Yeah. So there's a Fluentd, and the Fluentd is why we are using Fluentd is, right. For example, in your AWS or any Azure, if you go, you deploy your Azure container. For example, if you talks about Azure, right, they'll tell about managed service. AKS is a managed services. If you talks about AWS, they tell EKS is a managed services. So you Google definitely GKS, something like that, right? So if you deploy your clustering into that managed services, so then the data will be what are the output, for example, container logs or application logs or node logs. So how are we going to read it? For example, as earlier you see that the architecture where there is a cloud trail, cloud watch, those for talks about the AWS. So there is our manage their own managed services. You should not go and lock to the vendor lock or something. You should come up with your own monitoring approach, so that for example, you deployed your application in multi cloud, for example AKS or EKS or GKS, and then we need to read the logs from their different managed services, cloud also. So for that, this Fluentd will help you. So you deploy your Fluentd is a demonstrate in each container. It's for example Azure AKS where you need to deploy your Fluentd. The same thing it will go to AWS and GCP also. So once you deploy that, right, so the data will be read from their own managed services and pushing it to your Elasticsearch. So how the Elastic is nothing but Elastic Search and Logstash and Kibana. Here we are not using Logstash. We are talks about the Fluentd. So the Fluentd will collect the logs from different containers and pushing it to your Elasticsearch. Once the data comes to your Elasticsearch and that all the logs are indexed there, and then using your Kibana, you can do whatever chat you want. How many errors per day wanted to see? How many? Is there any performance issues? Is there any CPU is going more than 90%? You wanted to see different chat. You can use Kibana. You can create n number of chat, and then you can download it, or you can send it to your superior, or you can also put it in a TV, and then you can watch it to the live. So any data, it will keep meaning loading the data every minute, so you can see it on the screens also. So that's the way this Fluent is work. The Fluent is just like a collecting a data from the different sources and give it to your Elasticsearch. Yeah, that's it, Vishnu. If you have any questions, please ask. Thanks.
Thanks, Mahesh.
All the
Okay.
faculty members, if you have any questions, please put your questions. You can put your questions in the chat box also.
Yeah, the next interesting one, the next one we will talk about the Istio service mesh, right? So we are just touching upon the core components. Right? First, we talked about the delivery, then the Fluent bit, okay, which is more for your logging and monitoring. Then the service mesh, right? Okay. So service mesh, right? Okay. So Istio is one of the core components for your in any Kubernetes, right? Not only in any service mesh, okay, which takes care of your service discovery and traffic management. Okay, anything within your containers, right? You need a, because see, ideally in a microservices at a enterprise scale or even mid enterprises, right? We are talking about 50 to more than 50 plus microservices, right? So it becomes complex when you want to manage the communication between these services. Okay, what traffic goes into it, what is the issues if one of them fails, right? How do we manage the error handling of those services, right? So that's why we need something called service mesh, right? Which enables the management of service in an effective way. Okay. 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 So this is an architecture of the Istio service mesh, right? You kind of send your request. Okay. So Istio has got their own container, right? Like sidecar and anything, right? Which should be running where the traffic comes to that container. Right? It reaches your service. So the way it would work, like your Istio would act as a proxy for all your workloads. Okay, whatever the workloads you have got, right? Istio would be acting as a proxy. So none of these services or anything that would directly reach your workload. Instead, it would go via your proxy. Okay. For example, if you're eating any product service, right, the first request would reach to your proxy, which is you see the envoy, right? That's the Istio proxy. Then once it reaches there, right, Istio would take care of sending it to the actual workload, the product microservices. Then the product workload does the processing of it. Okay, does the actual processing of it. Then it sends the response to the proxy. The proxy sends to the actual caller. So that's the typical way how this Istio would manage it, right? So it would use something called a proxy, okay, sidecar or a proxy, which would be running, or even this microservice, if it wants to communicate or integrate with any other microservice, right? It would go through the envoy proxy. Okay? So it doesn't directly reaches the solution directly. It goes through this envoy proxy. Okay, this typically runs as a pattern called sidecar. So which is like running along your actual workload. So this proxy would be running with it. Okay. So this is how the actual traffic would be done. Any traffic to your workload would be done managed by the proxy, and the proxy would have all your logics to error handling. If, for example, if this workload is not, it goes down, right, this proxy will be handling in a graceful way. Okay, or it will hold the traffic, or it will redirect to traffic to a different. You can configure proxy to tell, like, if something goes wrong in this service, you can handle the error gracefully, or you can even give logics to retry as well. Okay, retry it more exponential back off, right? You can retry them in a exponential back off. Then if you go further right, okay, you can see there's a lot of these solutions, right? So this is on the your logging and monitoring. I think Magesh touched upon the Fluent D, right? So that is the core logging solution, right? So the Fluentd is your agent which runs on your workloads. It collects the information. It collects the information of your containers or workloads, right? And it send it to for this case Prometheus, right, which is more your metrics, the way you manage your metrics, right? It sends you, for example, you got your workloads, right? You would have your CPU information, memory information. So the way it would work is like depending upon the interval, it could be like every 30 seconds or every minute, right? It takes that metrics from the container solution, the nodes, both at the node levels or at the container level. It gets that information and it sends it to this Prometheus, okay, which is more a time. This is based on a time series database. Okay, it sends that information to the Prometheus, and Prometheus manages information for you. Then you would have tools like Grafana for visualization. Okay, so what is the benefit of this, right? For example, if you are experiencing high volume of load, okay, so ideally your utilization is going to high, right? Okay, so this information is going to manage this Prometheus and Grafana, right? And you can start studying the pattern of it. Okay, for example, that you see that between, okay, so for example, you would be managing the data for a lot of days, right? So typically in this particular day, in this duration, for example, every day around 9 a.m., right, you see the traffic is very high. Okay, so you can start understanding your pattern, and you can redesign your architecture and solution based on it. Okay, so this helps you to understand the traffic. Okay, what is the issues you're experiencing, and how do you manage them in a both in a proactive and a reactive way. So that is how these solutions enable you to do. Okay, so this is one such solution, right? Prometheus Grafana. We have got various other solutions as well, which does a lot of these similar kind of functionality. So depending upon the use case, the complexity of use case, and your the functionality is required, right? You choose the right set of tools. Okay, so that's on the this one, right? And the next one we want to talk about is the Helm charts, right? Okay. Again, this is a Kubernetes package. Helm is your package manager, right? So ideally, uh, we are talking about a Kubernetes solution. It's how do you package solution using Kubernetes? How do you build this solution? We use tools like Helm. Okay, one such tool is Helm, right? Or this is the more widely adopted tool from a Kubernetes package manager. Okay, so we use something called Helm. Okay. So what the benefit it does is like, so ideally, if you want to manage deploy any solution in Kubernetes, right, you would start writing the manifest. Okay, it's something referred as Kubernetes manifest, right? So these manifests are quite complex, static in nature. Okay, so you may not, the reusability of those manifests are quite minimal. Okay, when you start with, so that to enable them more reusability, more dynamic, infuse more dynamic into it, right? We come up with something called Elm. Okay, so Elm is a package manager which helps you to do it, and this is the widely used tool. Okay, so along with your Kubernetes, okay, you need to have a good knowledge on Elm. How do you write Elm scripts or the charts? Okay, to do any of your Kubernetes solution. Okay. So these are the set of tools or basic set of tools you would need on your for your container solution. Okay. So this is on the cloud net. Any doubts or any clarification or any specific areas, if you are interested, feel free to let us know. We can discuss on those as well. Right. One of the key area for your container is this. I think we talked about the compute. We talked about how do you deploy solutions. Okay, the service management, the logging and monitor. One of the key other aspect is your security side of it, right? Okay, how do we, which is a key, right? Depending upon the data you're working on, the customers, or you're working with, right? Security is a key aspect. Okay, so container to manage a container, right? It comes with you would need a complex security runtime. Okay, so you would to have effective security in container solution, right? You would need a security at various component. It doesn't need to be only at your this, right? So there are various levels of container security components required. Okay, so the first one is the okay, the policies, right? What are the policies you should have on your container platforms? Okay, when I say policy, right, it could be the RBAC controls. Okay, what are the versions of virtual machine, the patches you need to have your own node? So all those policies needs to be defined. Okay, so this brings you the security at the infrastructure what you use. Okay, then you kind of get into your components, right, your workloads, right? What are the components of security you need to have for your workloads, right? Okay, how do we enable authentication, authorization? Okay, who can manage those solution on your container? So that's the next aspect. Next, right, some of the container solutions are stateful as well. Okay, they've got some stateful, they've got some co- critical data to manage, right? So how do we manage the data? What level of encryption do we need? Um, that needs to be done. Then some of these solutions, right, interact with a few other external services, right? Maybe a database for this instance. Let's take a database, right? So to interact with any database, you would need a username and password, right? How do you manage this username and password? So you need a secrets management solution in that case. So that is one such security. Then the container or the Docker images, what we use, right? That itself goes to a scan. Okay, so there is a container runtime scan solution which gets used, right? Which uh, where we scan the entire solution. Okay, if there are violations, okay, this gets scanned at your checks with the vulnerability database as well, regular with if it finds any vulnerability, right, it sends a notification to us that this is the vulnerability uh, which is available. Okay, how do you want to mitigate or remediate, right? Sometimes there have been cases, right, where we need to, since there is a critical vulnerability found, right, we have to stop the workload itself. Okay, which kind of disrupts the functionality of it, right? So depending upon that, right, so there is a constant scan happens on your workloads as well. So these are some of the examples of your security, right? The policies for infrastructure, then the secrets management, your container runtime scan, right? Then the RBAC controls, what you have got. So these are some of the few examples of security in place for your container solution. So this is a key thing which we wanted to discuss. Yeah, I'll take 10 more minutes, then maybe I'll pause for any more queries or anything. Right? See, I think now we talked about the components of the kind of your solution, right? What are the typical components you would need to build a cloud native or Kubernetes solution, right? First, we talked about the cloud. Okay, at a cloud level, what are the components you need? That is your compute, storage, monitoring, logging, integration, right? So once you have got those cloud infrastructure components, next you need your the CNCF, right? What you typically in your CNCF plugins, let it be a service mesh, let it be your Prometheus, Grafana, okay, your Argo CD. These are more the plugins for effectively manage your container solution on cloud. So now you have got it. So how do enterprises go about doing this, right? Or what are the typical ways they go about, right? Okay. So we have got two approaches. Typically, we have seen a lot of customers use multiple approaches. One, we call it as the cloud first approach. The other is the more the cloud modernization, right, or app modernization, right? So first we'll talk about the app modernization, right? So typically, lot of customers would have their applications or their business functionality digitalized, right? So these functions could be running in could be running on-prem or for that matter even on the cloud. Okay, so but they may not be modernized. When I say they are not container based, right? Because container is the new way of running your solutions, right? At least for more for microservices, right? For effective management, it helps you to manage your resources effectively. It can bring down if it's done in the right way, right? It brings you effective management, speed up the delivery, accelerated delivery of your solution, right? So typically what we do is like the application modernization phase, we do a discovery of that application. And we have a standard called 12 factor app, right? So there is a standard called 12 factor app. Maybe I can just pull that up. So we kind of go through this 12 factor app kind of assessment, right? So these are the basics for adopting containers, right? Your application should tick all these 12 factors. Okay, now I think now we have got even 15 factors, right? But at least minimum need to have this 12 factor. Your application should be adding the 12 factor before even you are thinking about moving them, modernizing them into containers, right? So this 12 factor app, right? First one is the code base, right? Okay, how do you manage your code bases? Okay, so ideally we expect the code to be managed in any SCM like Git or any Git repository or Subversion or anywhere, right? So all your code bases should be managed in your repository. The next is the dependencies, right? How do you manage your dependencies? Okay. So these dependencies, okay, for example, coming from Java or Python background, right? You would have Maven or Pip as your dependency, right? You install it. So all those dependencies, all those things, you would manage them in a either in a Maven public repository or npm or pip or even in commercial tools like Nexus or few any other components. So how do you manage your dependency of your application? Next is your configurations, right? Okay, all your configuration should be persisted in your config. Then the external services. For example, your application depends on a database or it depends on a file storage, right? So all this should be handled as a services. They should be handled as a services. Okay? Then the build, release, and run process should be automated. Then okay, your application should be running as more as a stateless process as much as possible. It should run on a port. Okay, it should run on a typical port. Then the concurrency, right? How do you manage concurrency? Then the startup and shutdown of the solution. Dev1, how do you manage different environments, the logs and the admin process, right? So these are the 12 factor. Okay, so these are the things which we kind of start looking into a legacy application. We kind of get into a discovery where we start understanding like whether your application is adding to the 12 factor. If not, okay, we need to the first step would be like how do you make this application added to this 12 step factor or the 12 factor. So once we achieve that, right, so that would depending upon the complexity, the the maturity level of application, right? The complexity changes, okay? The implementation of it changes. Once we have achieved closer to this 12 factor up, right? Then we start building out the building blocks for your container, okay? To making that solution as a container, right? The building blocks for it, okay? We start building out the building blocks. So we do the discovery, okay? We identify the gaps, what is missing, then we document it. Okay, once we have documented, we go into a built-in implementation to address those issues. Then we start, once we have built that out, right, then we start building out the foundation components for a container. Let it be your cloud infrastructure, the container platform itself, then the plugins what we talk about it. We start building that out for the customer. Once we have built this out, right, we start deploying this solution. Okay, we started deploying this solution for the customer, and it goes through a series of testing. So ideally, you've got an existing process, which is not based on container, but it runs in a more legacy way. Right now, you're building a new process which comes into it. So this goes to a series of testing. Okay, it goes through a testing for integration testing, performance testing, even security testing. Right. So these are the various levels of testing this would go through. Okay, then the final testing, once it's going, the final thing was more like a user kind of a testing, right? A real user who comes in and kind of tests this solution to see whether this works as expected or not. Okay, this then the once the user signs off, right, that's when it becomes a becomes a go, like this application goes live into the real system or start using by the end customers. And there has been a new pattern called canary deployment, right, which is widely used these days. Canary kind of a deployment, right, where you would have both your legacy system and your new systems running parallel, and you would send traffic based on certain percentage. For example, to start with, on day one, right, you want only 5% of your traffic goes to the new services. Rest all 90% goes to your existing systems. Okay, so on that 5% traffic, right, you do some anomaly. We see any anomaly detection, any errors for users. Are there any errors that the user is experiencing, right? Then the user, so we do the checks. Once that we don't see much issues, right? Okay, then we increase at 5 to 10%. So gradually, kind of they start increasing the percentage on the new systems, and they reduce it on the other one. Okay, they start downgrading from 90 to bring it to 0 at some point. Right? At some point, okay, you would have reached 100% on new system. The traffic on the old system would have been nullified. Then we close down that system, and it reaches the end of life. So that is how application modernization phase happens, right? Where you do the discovery, implement it, then you release it. It goes to a series of testing. Then you kind of switch the traffic from the existing to the new in a staggered approach. Okay, so this is what is widely used in the modernization thing. Okay, so the next approach is the cloud first approach, right? Okay, where for any, so this is widely used for any building new products, new solutions, right? Where the customer starts on their cloud first. Okay, cloud first. So that means that they don't have anything. They're starting from the scratch. Okay, so they kind of get into analysis, requirement analysis phase, where they discuss about the use cases, features. Okay, what you need on this product, right? They go into typical product, right? As part of that, okay, once they have got the analysis done, right, it gets into a architectural phase, right? So in that architectural phase is what decided, like, okay, whether a container platform would be suitable for this. Okay, what would the reasons, right, to for this container container to run this as a container. Okay, so once that is done, right, they kind of evaluate once they have done that, right, when they choose the right set of tools and framework for your containers, they decide on it. Then they get into the build and implementation of it. Okay, so again the same process goes through this, right? Again there is a various levels of testing happens to it. Okay, only thing would be like the one the only thing would be like, how do you manage the traffic? How does it get released to the users, right? So ideally, the way this goes about it, they do a beta release, right, where they do it for very limited customers. Okay, they do it for a limited customers. Once the beta is fine, they kind of release it for the enhanced users. Then finally they go for a big bang, like, okay, so that is how typically you would release any of your cloud first kind of a solution. So these are the two approaches which we typically see for any adoption of any Kubernetes or a container based solution. That's from do you want to add anything, Magesh?
No, Vishnu, you pretty much you covered everything.
I think I am kind of run through the agenda what me and Magesh had. Okay. So I think last 15 minutes maybe we can go through any queries or any discussions if you have. I can see some queries, right, on service. Okay. So I think I saw a few queries on the service orchestration, right? Service orchestration, service. So I assume it's more specific to the service mesh, right? The service mesh side of it, right? Okay. So I really, okay, maybe I can pick some examples on the Istio, right? Istio service mesh, correct? Okay. That is one such good example, right? So ideally, this is more valid in this comes with various aspects, right? How do you, since in a container or microservices world, right, we're talking about like numerous services. It could be 100, or it can scale up to thousands as well, right? In a complex environment. Okay, so that brings in challenges in how do you manage these services, this discovery, right? So that's when this service mesh comes in, right? Okay, so one, it is for your service discovery, right? For example, a service A wants to talks with service B. Okay, so how do you manage that discovery, right? Do you want to manage this in your code, or do you want to externalize this? Because tomorrow this B could be replaced with C. Okay, so if you're going to do those in your code, or if you hard code it in your code, right, it's going to difficult to manage it. And anytime when you want to do these changes, right, you have to do some code changes, which can take some downtime. So that's kind of that's the first aspect, right? How do you manage your external services more in a configuration way than in the code? So that was the first motivation for service mesh. Next is the more from a security standpoint as well, right? For example, the service A should talk only with service B. Okay, it shouldn't be integrated with any other service, right? It could be for a security standpoint, or it could be various other reasons, right? How do you enforce those rules and policies as well? Okay, so it can bring in that. Then, okay, you wanted to use the for some of these services. Okay, currently we have most of the Microsoft are adopting the pattern called MTLS, right, or your zero trust security, right, where they use the certificates for authentication, authorization, right? They don't use anymore the username and password. They go more into certification kind of it, right? So these kind of certification, instead of managing your code, you wanted to manage it in your service mesh itself, kind of externalizing that. Okay, so that is one thing. The next aspect is the error handling, right? For example, if there is some error in one of these services, right, you want the traffic to redirect to few other services, right? So all these things needs to be externalized. That's where the tools like service mesh comes in. Okay, one for your traffic management. Next is your security. Okay, next is like how do you manage your intercommunication? What needs to be communicated? Next is your MTLS. How do you manage your authentic authorization for your services in a externalization way? Okay, so those are the key things. There are few other benefits, but these are the wide thing which we use. Okay, and also this is the service mesh along with few set of tools, right, helps you with the distributed tracing as well. Okay, for example, you wanted to see the entire journey of your entire journey, right? For example, if you buy any products, I mean, it goes from the products payments, it goes into the supply chain delivery, right? It goes through numerous microservice applications, right? If you want to track the entire journey, for example, if an error happens at any of those, right, so you wanted to backtrack what are the successful stage the customer had, what is that failed, right? It helps you to do the distributed tracing as well. Okay, it enables, right, some way, right, with some additional set of tools with service mesh, right? It helps you to do the distributed tracing as well. So this is what, and the entire service mesh or anything, right? So each Kubernetes or each cloud provider has got their own set of service mesh available, right? And Istio is a open source, a CNF's own, and that is widely adopted as well. Okay, we have got few more, but Istio is something which is widely adopted in the industry. That's on the service mesh. Any other questions?
Hello, Vishnu.
Yeah.
Are we done?
Yes. Yeah, I'm done. Yeah. Any queries if you can, or you can wrap.
Okay. Any questions from any faculty member to ask? The experts are here. Vishnu and Mahesh are here. If you have any questions related to the topic discussed, you can please put your questions across the volunteers. Any feedback? Anyone wants to say something about the voluntary engagement session? Am I audible?
Yes, we can hear you.
Vishnu, Mahesh, any feedback from your end regarding the session?
Not from my side.
So,
Okay, Mahesh.
yeah, thank you, Vishnu and Mahesh, for sharing your knowledge to the faculty members. And I'm still asking if any faculty member has any doubt, please let us know. One faculty has asked in the chat box how to get the free Azure subscription. Vishnu.
Oh, yeah.
I think if you are in the first time user, you will get 200 credits. So maybe you can create a number of email accounts. You can use that. Otherwise,
Yes. I think it requests for a credit card. It requests for a credit card, and it comes with a some $200 or around 10,000 rupees in Indian, 10,000, 15,000 free for you, okay, for few things, and can consume it. Okay, you need to look into the resources. Some of the resources are still costed. Okay, so I won't say all these services. So you need to go through the pricing and pick that up. Okay, but you need a credit card for it, and you can register. Same for AWS as well. Okay, at least in AWS, there are a lot of free tier solutions which you can run. Okay, at least you should be able to get your at least you should be able to get your hands on using around $5 to $10, right? You can use various number of solutions and have an experience on it.
so whenever if you use any managed service or say any node, they will tell us this is for free service, free subscription. You can use that. Once you've completed it, please delete it immediately. Don't keep it that one. So maybe that will cost you later. And then, for example, if you pay a credit card or something, so what you have to do is you don't share your details to anyone else, or don't keep it your details in a cloud or something. So the cloud environment is always good, but sometimes it won't, because they will pick it up your account, and then they will try to spin off lot of servers. Then you will have to pay a lot of amount in the overnight. So don't keep it anything anywhere. Just keep it with your notebook or something. That's very bit secure, safer side. Yeah. But if you want to more subscription free services, then maybe you can create too many emails, something like that. You can use it for at least free services. Once you're done, you can remove the payment also, because they will deduct two rupees and then they will put it back.
Great, thank you, Mahesh. There is one question, Mahesh and Vishnu. One faculty wants to know about service orchestration. What is service orchestration?
I think Vishnu talks about lot on that earlier. Maybe I'll give you in a lemon also. For example, the service orchestration is right. There are let's take a simple example. You place an order in Amazon, right? So what will you first you have to create your user. So there is a user microservices, and then there is a order microservices. There is a inventory microservices. There is a payment microservices. There is a shipment microservices. They're all different microservices. When you talks about service orchestration, right? So user first you place an order, it will go to the order microservices or inventory, whether this order is available, your product is available or something, right? So how that Istio will work, right? There is a sidecar or envoy proxy. So this first microservices talk to another microservices using through the sidecar or envoy proxy, which means they will take care of it all the communications between one microservices to another microservices. It will be a MTLS, which means it's a fully encrypted line. That's why the envoy proxy or sidecar proxy will care about which is a Citadel. There is a product called the Citadel. You have to go through the Citadel only, so that the certification and encryptions will happen in the Citadel. So what we'll know is the A microservices talk to B, right? So they will know that always A should talk to B only, or A should talk to B, C, D, different sub microservices. Those things will be configured and put it in a sidecar. So like a kind of your PA or something, like how in a mobile phone, iPhone, you using Siri, right? The same thing. You call your PA. I want to talk to the microservices B. Then the your PA will arrange you for this. The same thing will in a sidecar. We tell us in a sidecar. So that's the way the service orchestrations will go through one by one. So a microservice talk to B, and B will talk to C. C will talk to D. So this entire transactions, you wanted to maintain an entire transaction. For example, if payment is filed, what will happen? They have to roll back the entire stuff, right? First, the payment is filed, then they'll go to they release the product, and then it will go to the order microservices. It will be add the product. Previously, let's imagine previously it was a 10, now it will be changed to 11, and then it will go back, and then in your inventory, so you have all the product is rolled back, right? So that we talks about the Saga. Saga is one of the transaction management where it will take care of the entire transaction from the start from this entire shipment. It will be monitoring the entire transaction. If anything is filed, then it will go through the bottom to top approach. So these are the service orchestration, and then the transactions enabled. Hope I think who said
Yes, thanks, Mahesh.
yeah.
Thanks for the explanation. Any other doubt from any faculty member? Or any faculty member wants to share their experience, they can unmute and they can share their experience also. Okay, I don't think we have any faculty members who share their experience. Okay, Mahesh and Vishnu, thank you very much for sharing your valuable insights in the cloud domain to all the faculty members. Thanks for taking out your precious time to shower your knowledge. And I hope that all the faculty members are benefited from the session, from the things that you have imparted to them. Thank you very much, Mahesh and Vishnu. It was nice to have you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Shashank. All the very
Thanks.
best to
Thank
you.
you
Thanks
all.
Thanks.
from
Bye.
on behalf of
Bye.
all the faculty members. Thank you.
Bye.
Diana and Maria.
Yes, Shashank, shall
Yes.
we go for a break?
Yes, you can continue with your regular session.
Okay, okay. Shall we go for a break, Shashank? 15 minutes after that we'll continue, right?
Sure. So all the faculty members, we can take a break of 10 minutes and we will continue from where we had left before the volunteer engagement session. See you in 10 minutes, all the faculty members.
Hi, dear teachers. Shall we resume the session? Okay, thank you so much. So, hope all of you have filled the attendance form. So, if not, Maria ma'am, can you please share the attendance form once again in the chat?
Yes,
If those do not, those who not yet filled, you can make use of the link and fill the attendance. So, in day 1 and day 2, we have covered 2 different services by Microsoft Azure. One is virtual machine and another one is storage account. How to create a virtual machine both in Windows and Linux using Microsoft Azure Cloud, and also how to create the storage account to store your data inside the store through Microsoft Cloud. If you have an access to a account having subscription, you can able to store data based on the availability, the size of the storage account you have purchased, right? So that is that 2 services we have already covered in day 1 and day 2. Okay, so next we are moving to the next service of Microsoft Azure, that is nothing but the database services. Database services provided by Azure. As we or you might be knowing about the database. Actually, we all when in engineering we are mostly the computer science or IT or electronic teachers may know about the database service. That is what is database, and we have database management systems, DBMS lab in our college, right? So normally what we'll do, we'll install MySQL or we'll install Oracle, and we are going with that particular database for the database services, right? We are doing the labs in those. So this Microsoft Azure Cloud also having a service called database. We can log into database. We can have the database service from the Azure. Okay, from Microsoft Azure. So Azure Cloud is the perfect solution for your data warehousing and database needs, and discover. So we are going to discover the benefits of Azure Cloud for data analytics and storage. We all know that if you want to do analytics, we have to store data somewhere, right? So we have to store data somewhere, and we have to make it structured, and mainly we are using the structured data. If the data is unstructured, we are going to make it structured, and we are going to use for analytics, right? So tomorrow and day after tomorrow, we are dealing with prediction and analytics using Microsoft Azure. So before that, we have to know about how to use the database services and how we can able to store our CSV file or our tables in database. And also so we are dealing with the database services from Azure from today onwards. Okay, so so this all things we have already explained. Overview of Azure Cloud, that Azure Cloud is nothing but a cloud computing service. We already know these 2 points. Okay, so what is the data warehousing in cloud? Any teachers have any idea regarding what is data warehouse and what is database? Any idea anyone have? If you can have something, you can share here. If you have any, what is the difference between data warehouse and what is database actually? If anyone can need to unmute and say, can answer. So when we are dealing with the data, actually, what is data warehousing? Actually, we heard, we might be knowing about the name warehousing. Warehousing is actually used to store something big, go down or something like that, right? In physical thing, the warehousing is that the same concept is here for the current. Actually, there are 2 concepts called OLTP and OLAP. What is OLTP? OLTP is nothing but online transactional processing, and OLAP is online analytical processing. Okay, so data base deals with OLTP. That is which is current. If you want to book a ticket through IRCTC, that is nothing but that is OLTP, that is transaction. Transaction is happening with the current database and the current database stage actually. So if you want to analyze the timing, about the timing of the train in India, whether it is in correct time or how much delay is happening and why delays are happening, if you want to do an analytics in that way, we need to have data warehouse or we need to have the archives of data there. You got the point. That is a difference. So data, that is nothing but that is the procedure called online analytical processing. We are doing analytics. To do the analytics, we should have the archives of data or we have the previous data to do the analytics on that. I hope you got the difference between data warehouse and database. Okay. So that is the data warehouse. But I am not taking much theory on this. I am directly moving to the database services from the cloud. So introduction to database services. So variety of database services provided by cloud, that is the main this Azure SQL database we are going to explore. We are going to explore in our session actually. So then database, MySQL database is there, PostgreSQL database is there, Cosmos DB is there, the Azure Data Factory is there. A lot of database services are provided by cloud. Okay, so data integration analytics in Azure cloud, actually we are going to do this data factory. We are going to deal with the data factory. After this session, we are going to deal with the service called Azure Data Factory, where we can able to, we know that if you want to do analytics in a particular topic, okay, particular topic or something, we want to do the analytics in how these climatic conditions are changing. We should we will have data from multiple sources, right? We'll get a survey form. Through survey form we'll get data from some website. We can download data. Some data we can able to create, manipulate, and we can able to use that. So multiple sources of data will be there. We have to integrate all this data and we have to do ETL. That is an important procedure before going to analytics or prediction. That is extract the data, transform the data, and load the perfect data for prediction or analytics. Okay, so that is actually called ETL. We have to do ETL or cleaning and making the data ready for prediction and analytics. So this Azure Data Factory will deal that ETL, that is extract, transform, and loading. So actually, so okay, so integration options for integrate data from multiple sources. Then analytical capabilities and tools in Azure called, we can able to do, we can take the data from, we can able to create a pipeline to do this analytics. We will have the incremental data in our Azure storage. We can create a pipeline like that, and we will take the data from the Azure storage and we can do the ETL, and we can get the data to Power BI desktop, and we can provide analytics there, interactive analytics there. So the analytics capabilities through Azure cloud, that is possible. Then machine learning, we can able to do with the data available in the data storage. We can able to do some machine learning based predictions. So tomorrow we after the Azure Data Factory, we are going to deal with the ML part, how to do ML prediction using Azure cloud. Okay, Azure capabilities. So as you apply artificial intelligence to your data and applications, you can predict something that I will showcase you tomorrow, how to predict something using ML using the Azure cloud. So this is all about the data warehouse and that concept of data warehouse. So I hope you got the point, some idea regarding what is database and what is data warehouse. Okay, Swati ma'am, warehouse hold data in it. Yes, warehouse can hold data in warehouse, which can store current as well as historical data. When database, we can store current data. Exactly, ma'am. We can able to, if we want to archive the data, we have to use warehouse. Okay, so there is a structure. You might be knowing about certain structures in data warehouse. Fact constellation is there. Snowflake schema, star schema. Based on this structures, data structure, we are going to store data in data warehouse for the easy access as per our need for analytics or prediction. Okay, so any doubt anyone have? If no doubt, we can directly move for creating the data warehouse through Azure. No, not data warehouse. SQL data. How we can able to access SQL database through Azure cloud. Any doubt anyone have till this point?
Ma'am, for the data warehousing, we use machine learning and we use ETL concept, right? Extract, transform, loading.
Data warehouse actually, that is a concept called Azure Data Factory. We can able to deal with that is actually machine learning. What is the concept called machine learning is mainly based on the previous data, right? We are going to predict something for the future based on the already available data, right, ma'am? So we have to do so this archives of data because this database contain only the current data. For example, if you want to book a ticket through IRCTC website, we will have the current data, that is the current status of the train and current availability of the tickets there. We do not have any previous data there in the database. So what ma'am have told is exactly correct. In data warehouse, we are archiving the data or previous data which can be used for analytics, which will help the managers for take the good decisions based on that, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
For the database DBMS, we use only CRUD applications: create, read, update, delete. Answer.
Exactly. We do
Here
that.
we
That
use
is something
analytical
called
purpose.
transactions, ma'am. Good.
Okay.
Create
Thank you, ma'am.
some transaction, current transactions we are doing, ma'am. Good.
Okay.
Good. Any other doubts anyone have, or can we move to the Azure Cloud for access, how to access the SQL database from Azure Cloud? Can we move? Before that, I need to make sure that you got the concept of what is database. Now, today we are only dealing with the database concept. That is based on the, we are going to create a database and we are accessing it. Okay. Thank you, Sri. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. So I'll be taking the Azure Cloud and we are going to create a database. Okay. So I'm going to logging into portal.azure.com. So this is our home page. Okay. So this is our home page. Then this is our home page. Okay. So which service we need? Actually, we have to search with the service. Okay. So which service we need? Actually, the service is directly here, SQL databases. Can able to see services directly here. Can you see? In your dashboard, SQL databases. I'll take a screenshot and will provide to you. We are going to create an SQL database. We are going to create a fresh database, sir, Arun sir. Because how we are going to do in the web lab, okay, you if you want to, normally when we are going to do any DBMS lab, we are going to create a table there. We are going to insert the values in the table and we are displaying the data and we have querying the table. We are querying the table, right? We will query the table to get the data which we need, right? So this is the SQL database service from Azure Cloud. So here also we can able to find that particular service from, we can able to take the SQL data from create a resource. We can able to see here also. Okay, so SQL service I am pasting here. This SQL database is here. And the we can able to search here. If you can able to find anywhere in the dashboard for any service, you can search for SQL database here. Fine. So search in the search bar for SQL. Then you will get, after clicking the SQL database service, you will get a screen like this to create your SQL database. Fine. Any doubt? Right, to access the service called SQL database from Azure. Okay, okay, thank you. So the next part is creating the SQL database. Actually, when we are talking about the virtual machine and the storage account, it was not that much costly. But if we have to configure the SQL, actually, this particular Azure Cloud provide multiple type of database services. I think we'll check for my whether it is provided with the subscription. I don't know. Azure database for MySQL, okay, is there. So I think Cosmos DB, Azure Cosmos DB database is there. Postgres. Postgres Azure database for PostgreSQL is there. So this Azure provides multiple type of database services. I will list out something. Okay, so first, and the majority of users are using the database services for SQL databases because all of us are clear about the query, the SQL queries. So this is the most frequently used database services from the Azure. So Azure SQL database is the one of the database services provided by Microsoft Azure. Then another one is Azure database for MySQL actually. MySQL at a database I already shown you, right? That service also provided by Azure. That is, this service actually offers a managed MySQL database in Azure. Okay, it's if we want our application to have MySQL database at the backend, we have to create the MySQL database. Okay, so based on our application's need, we can change the we can choose the appropriate service, database services. Okay. Then Azure database for PostgreSQL. Okay. PostgreSQL I have shown you. That service also, this Azure, you can able to see here, right? Azure database for PostgreSQL. This is similar to the Azure database for MySQL. This service provides a managed PostgreSQL database in Azure. Okay, so this if our application, we are going to host any application in the cloud, and that particular applications needs the PostgreSQL database in the backend, then we can choose this service, that is Azure database for PostgreSQL. Okay, then another service provided by Azure is Cosmos DB. Okay, Cosmos DB, that is Azure Cosmos DB. This is a globally distributed and multi-model database service that can support multiple APIs, including SQL for querying data. Okay, so this is another type of database service provided by Azure. Then Azure data warehouse, I think Synapse analysis is there. So Azure Synapse Analytics, okay, Azure Synapse Analytics, this is another type of database service provided by Azure. This actually, if you want to create a warehouse, okay, warehouse, I think we have to use the service called Azure Synapse Analytics. This is a big data and data warehousing service, okay. Big data, if you want to store archives of data, you have to go for Azure Synapse Analytics for storing big data and data warehousing service, which allow you as to run complex queries and analyze large data set using a distributed SQL actually. Okay, if you want to have a data warehouse service, this is a better solution for, that is Azure Synapse service. Then another thing, Azure Data Factory, that this is our next topic because we have to move to the prediction and analytics. So we have another option here, that is Azure Data Factory. Okay, Azure Data Factory service is there. Data factories, okay, you can able to get the data factories, okay, data factories. So it is not a database service, so it is a data integration service. Actually, I told you that when we are going to build any application, ML application or ML prediction or analytics, we may have data from multiple sources like a website, from our system, from cloud, okay, from the client part, lot of types of sources for data may be there. In that case, we need to integrate all this data and we have to make it to stay structured data which can be useful for prediction and analytics. You got the point? So in that case, we need to have the Azure Data Factory as an integration service, which will allow us to create, schedule and manage data pipelines for moving from SQL database or another storage solution. In this, in Azure Data Factories, we can able to move or we can able to get data from this our storage or Azure SQL database or other data storage file. We can able to create a pipeline for the integration. So this is the very important service provided by Microsoft Azure. I hope that you got an idea regarding the database services provided by Azure. Okay. Today we are going to deal with the service called SQL database. Azure SQL database. Any doubt anyone have about the database services provided by Azure? Okay, fine. Then we can move to the creation of SQL database. Okay, we can move forward for creation of SQL databases and we can access the SQL database from Azure. Okay, I'll explain that. For that, I'm going to create here. Okay, like we are creating the virtual machine and storage account. Same, we have to click the button, create button. I'll get a screenshot here. Okay, SQL databases. I'll put a screenshot, then you can. Data factory is mainly for integration purpose, ma'am. We have to do for integration, we have to do a procedure called ETL, that is extract, transform, and loading. Those who are related to data analytics or machine learning field may heard about this this ETL, extract, transforming, and loading, where we are going to clean our data and load for our and next stage actually. So data factory is mainly used for integration and doing the ETL, extract, transform, and loading purposes. Okay, this actually this Azure the data factory is ETL, means we can able to define the workflow actually through Azure Data Factory. We can able to create the data pipelines. Actually, when we think about it, now we are creating the data manually and we are working on it. But in the case of real scenarios, if we are using this Microsoft Azure for some companies and all, what is happening is clients will put their data in a storage, blob storage or something. And from there, we have to get incremental data. The data may not be fixed. The data may be incremental. So they will add incremental means they are updating regularly, updating the data. Or if you want to create a interactive dashboard. For example, if you want to create a dashboard which will showcase the World Cup. Now the World Cup is going on. We need to showcase the details regarding the World Cup through a dashboard. Okay, so the data is incremental because every day matches are happening. And if you want to analyze that data, what we need to do? We need to have a data pipeline. When the data comes to the storage, then we have to take it and we have to do the ETL. We have to convert into a specific format and we need to get it into Power BI and we have to analyze and we have to display the dashboard according to the today's status, right? So we can able to make a pipeline using the Azure Data Factory. So we can able to define the workflow for moving, transforming, and processing data. Mainly, this is all. This all are deal with the ETL, extract, transform, and extracting the data and transforming, and we can provide to the next stage. So completely that common term is ETL, extracting the data, transforming, and processing. Everything is happening inside the data factory. Okay, that is a factory for deal with the data. Okay, so then we can have the data sources and destinations in the data factory. So also that is about the Azure Data Factory. Okay, ma'am. I think you have now, ma'am Tamilrasi, ma'am, are you clear with the data factory concept now? Yes. We are going to have demo right now. I am going to have the demo for creating the SQL database manager. So here, actually, we are going to create a SQL database here. Okay. So we are going to create the SQL database. Same window like we are creating the other services like virtual machines and storage group. We will get a window like this, but we have to create we have to do the subscription. That subscription, we all know that. Yes, subscription. A resource group, there are multiple resource groups are available listing out, but you have to choose this resource group. That is very important. That is FDP AICT, because we are managing you under that particular resource group actually. Okay. So fine. So FDP AICT, this is very important. Those who are project details, that is subscription and resource group, I think subscription and resource group is here. Okay, so this is mandatory. So next step is we must have the server, database server actually. So what is meant by a database? If you want to create a table, okay, so we must have a database server, because we are installing, if you are going to do some SQL, we should have the SQL database or Microsoft SQL database server. Okay, so we are creating our server. Actually, what is a database server? Database server is nothing but a dedicated computer or software application that provides the database services to other computers, that is known as clients. For us, it is means for us a database, this database server which we are creating. Yes, sir. Manoj Kumar sir, any doubt? Sir, have hand raised. Okay, fine. So we are going to create a database server. The need of database server creating here is it's a dedicated computer or a software application that provides the database services to the other computers or clients. We are the clients of the Microsoft Azure, right? And it stores, actually this database service deals with the storing, that is it stores, it manages, and it retrieves data in a structured way. All these things are this data manipulations or data storing, that is all data storing and data manipulations are performed, is handled by the database server we are going to create here. Okay, we are going to create an SQL database server right here for creating the SQL database. Okay, so this database server is responsible for all these things, that is dealing with the storing of the data, the dealing with managing of the data, retrieval of the data, everything. Okay, so we can it making this server, making it accessible and usable for various applications and users. This SQL database we are going to create. Okay, so it deals with data storage, data management, concurrency control, data integrity, data security, everything everything are provided using or deals by this particular database service we are going to create. Okay, so common database servers are Microsoft SQL. Now we are going to create, we have the SQL database. We are going to create the service called SQL database. So here we are going to create a database server called Microsoft SQL server. Okay, Microsoft SQL server we are going to create. Okay, so we have to provide a database name here. Okay, database name, and we have to create a server for that database. So I am going to provide a name, data DynaDB. This is available. This should be small letter actually. This should be completely small letter. We will get a tick here. And we have to select a server. No available servers are there. So I am going to create a new server here. Okay, new data Microsoft SQL server here. Okay, so the server name is I am going to provide the server name Diana SQL server. Okay, Diana SQL server. I'm going to provide the server name. Location, Central India we can provide. Okay, otherwise we can provide USEs. We can check for the availability of the database, whether it is available. So 3 types of authentications they are provided. Select your preferred authentication. When we are creating a database, SQL Server, okay, or Microsoft SQL servers. No, they will ask for the authentication. Okay, so we have provided, so you use SQL authentication. This is the better authentication here. So select your preferred authentication methods for access the service. Create a server admin login and password to access your server with SQL authentication. Okay. Using an existing Microsoft, and if we are a Microsoft Entra user or group or application, we can able to have Microsoft Entra authentication. This will provide the security for our database. Okay, this will secure our database. So if we have a if we are a Microsoft Entra user, we can have. So we don't have any account like that. So we have to go for simple authentication like use SQL authentication here. Okay. So some Diana SQL Diana SQL is here. So I'm going to provide some password here. I need to provide some previous things already saved here. Okay, use SQL authentication. If you are clicking SQL authentication, it will ask for the username and password. And using this username and password, we need to authenticate. We need to log in to our SQL server, okay, for accessing the SQL database. Okay, so here I am going to provide Diana SQL. Okay, Diana SQL as server admin login. Okay, Diana SQL, that is fine, Diana SQL. So please remember your username and password. That is really important to log into the SQL service actually. And we have to provide a password here, that also you should remember that. Okay, so please provide simple password which is you can able to remember. Okay, so I'm going to so it should have a capital letter, it should have small letters, it should have number, and it should have a special character. This condition should match. Okay, then only it will accept. If it will accept, it will provide a tick mark here. Okay, so again I need to provide confirm the password. So this password is matching. Okay, this much things you need to provide the SQL server. Okay, so I will provide a print screen here. Okay. Then we have to go for the SQL authentication. Any doubt up to this point? Just provide the all the steps. I have the ES subscription and all, and we have to provide the database name, and we have to create a server there. New server we are going to create. Any doubt, anyone? So we have to click OK. Manoj Kumar sir, are you having whether any doubt you have? So I have created the server. Okay. So new server Central India, that is created here. So I have provided the database name and I have created an SQL server here. Providing the screenshot. Teachers, can you please confirm? Are you able to follow me? Whether can you able to do up to this step? Any doubt anyone have? Done. Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, that is done. Then this this is another costlier service provided by, that is something called searching will be efficient using SQL Elastic Pool and all. we are not going to enable that because it will cost. Okay, any extra services we are taking that will cost in Azure, so we are going for minimum. We are providing the production. Okay, we are providing this workload environment development and production. Okay, so anything we can keep, we can go for production, that is development, which is mainly this is serverless. If you are going for production, it is general purpose, but we can configure our database. Okay, fine. So here I need to explain regarding this one. Now you please check the cost of the database we have created. This service costs this much. Ma'am, we have to choose the SQL authentication, ma'am. SQL authentication, I have provided the screenshot here. Have to choose the third one, that is SQL authentication. So I have provided the cost details in the chat box. How much cost do so a single? If I am taking this Azure, this service, it costs 31,089. Okay, so actually for general purpose, it is having, we can able to see here, you can have the cost summary also. Whenever you are creating any service, please check for the cost, otherwise it will cost high. Okay, so here in the cost summary, you can able to see cost per vCore. Actually, this is default, it is coming the general purpose. This one you can able to see the general purpose standard series, it is coming. Okay, we need to configure it by checking the cost actually. So it consists of 2 cores. So each core cost, actually if our server is multiple cores, which will go for parallel processing, and it will be much faster than the single core, right? Dual core means faster than the single core. So cost per vCore is 15,000. For single core, it costs 15,000 into 2. Okay, around 30, about 30,000 it will cost for the core, each core itself. Then storage is 10 GB. Okay, so no, the storage is about, here the storage is what, 32 GB storage. Okay, for each storage. Okay, so each so maximum storage selected here is 41.6 GB. So for each GB, per GB it costs 10.30. So Indian rupees. So the total cost is around 31,089 for this single database service for me, SQL database service. So if you want to change, for if you are going to access this database for our simple applications, we can able to configure our database. Okay. SQL Server comes with failover mode, and hence it's you need to buy for as per license type of Mysore. Sir, actually it comes with serverless is there. That is automatic scaling is happening. So 2 cores is not needed. I will show you how to configure the database if you are going for a simple SQL service. Okay, so I am going to do that. So actually here I am going to so I think up to this one you have already completed, right? Now we are going for configuring the database, and we are going to reduce this cost actually. Okay, because we just need to have the demonstration purpose, or we need to have the SQL server for the basic things, right? So I am going to click the configure database here. Okay, configure database here. So here we can able to, now we can able to see the cost here. Just check how this cost changes. Okay, so this server tier is general purpose. Okay, so this less demanding workloads I can go for basic. Okay, basic. So the cost is only 439. Very basic applications we can go for this simple one, basic, for less demanding workloads. Okay, so otherwise we can go for vCore based. We need, if we need the, so if you need the general, more budget friendly is general purpose. Okay, if I am opting the serverless, okay, I do not, actually we have 2 options for the compute tier. Okay, compute tier. One option is provisioned, and another option is serverless actually. Okay, I will provide you the screenshot here. These 2 options are there for the general purpose. We can able to configure our database based on our needs actually. So provisioned is compute resources are all the resources needed will be the cost, the capacity, everything will be pre-allocated and it will be billed per hour based on the vCost configured. Okay. So it is already pre-allocated. That is safe. If you go for a company, we are working in a company and we need to develop some applications and we need to have SQL server at the back end. We should go for provision because it having all the resources will ensure that we'll get all the resources pre-allocated. Okay. But but for simple demonstration purpose and all, we can go for serverless. Okay. So estimated cost is only 428. Okay. So here we can able to see up to 80 vCost we can able to go, up to 240 memory we can able to go, hardware configuration we can able to go. So serverless, now the basic serverless, this serverless will not be, the resources will not be pre-allocated. In this case the resources will be auto allocated as per our need actually. So this is billed per, if we are taking more and more resources, it is billed per second based on the vCost use. If we have used only single vCore, it won't cost more. Okay. I hope you got the point for changing the computer. Please, you don't go with provision because per faculty it will cost 33,000. So please ensure that you have clicked serverless here. Fine. Any doubt anyone have? Are you able to click serverless? It is very important because otherwise it will cost 33,000 for single faculty. So it is mandatory to click serverless. Okay. I'll put the screenshot here. Can you please confirm? Have you clicked the serverless option? Otherwise, we have to pay 33,000 for single faculty. Yes, thank you, Ajit sir, for the confirmation. Others, please click the serverless option. Okay, thank you, ma'am. Okay, fine. Okay, you have to check the cost summary always when we are configuring the database. It is mandatory to check the cost summary here. Okay, cost summary here. Then, if we need to have, here we have set the maximum vCost as 2. Okay. When we are going for serverless, we can if we are thinking that we have lot of data, we have to query it frequently and we should have the number of vCost should be increased. But it will be used auto scaled only. It won't use the maximum vCost and because it is not pre-allocated. If it is needed only, it will allocate. So we can increase the maximum vCost here. Can you able to see? Maximum vCost is increased. Okay, so we can up to 6 vCost we can able to go. So up to 80 vCost, the maximum here up to 80 vCost it will allow to you based on our usage actually, and it will build per second actually. So it will cost. Okay, don't think about this. This is the standard amount. But if you are using more and more vCost, virtual cost, it will cost high. So the standard thing is we can keep it as 2. Okay, fine. So minimum vCost, minimum is 0.5 vCost is minimum. Okay. So here 2.5 GB minimum memory, maximum memory is 6 GB. Okay. Auto boss, this can be default. Okay. Zone redundant. No. We are, because it will cost high. Here they are asking whether you like to make this database zone redundant. The default it is true. The default it is no. Okay, let it be. So we can increase the data maximum size. Okay, data maximum size. See the cost summary. Now see the cost summary. If you are changing the data minimum size to, if you are changing the maximum size of data, if you are going to why you are not getting the cost, ma'am? It's a side you will get. Have you clicked the configure? You can able to see right hand side of the SQL database, ma'am. I hope others are
Yes,
getting.
ma'am. That I have done, but I am not getting the cost. I don't know why. General
Right side you
purpose.
can't able to find. You got the service and computer and all, ma'am. Whether you got that?
Yes, everything I got, but that SQL database, that type set is available, but maximum storage I can get, but that cost is not available. Service tire, computer tire, from
This
provisional.
part I am talking about. This part is not available to you.
No, this high correct that you have shown that part is not available to me.
I don't know, ma'am. It should be actually there is no the because it's
That-
default. It is coming, ma'am.
No, that box is coming, but in that cost is not coming.
Oh, box is coming. I think due to network problem, ma'am. Due to some network issue, some latency may be there.
Okay, okay.
Let's wait for some time. You can see that the cost is increasing, okay, because the storage, if you are increasing the data, the storage capacity, it is the cost is going higher, right? So I am reducing it and we get it is around 455. Again, I am reducing it 4.2 GB. Then the cost is reduced to this one. If you don't have much data, if you want to just demonstrate to the students, let the cost be minimum. That is 187 only. Okay. Per month, estimate storage cost per month is only 187. Okay. Got the point? This is how we can able to configure our database as per our need. So always look, this is very, very, very important. You have to always look for the cost details. Okay. We have to always look for the cost details when we are creating our we are configuring our database, that it be minimum, because if you are not going for very big application development or as backend as database, if you are need to just demonstrate to your students, that we have to go for minimum cost. Okay, that is the best practice. Okay, so it should be serverless. Any doubt up to this point? Anyone have any doubt? So see, my cost is now only 187.
$20 for different people will get different amount or of what?
The different people, it will get a different amount, ma'am. It may be based on the region. Then some, if we are around 455, it will come region and everything. It will come around below 100, I think.
What is the number you kept in the data maximum GB?
Now I have reduced from standard actually. I think 4.2 GB. When we are reducing the data maximum size, it automatically cost will be get reduced.
Okay.
Drag this one to the left, ma'am.
200 rupees. It is getting fun. Okay.
Oh,
various amount. Yeah. For that I am asking. Different amount.
Different amount. That's
4.2.
right. It's completely depend on the configuration of our data set, ma'am.
Okay.
Cost is complete. That's why I have asked. We are just taking it for demonstration only. So let's keep it minimum because it is running for 2 to 3 hours. Today evening only we are going to delete these resources, right? So so it is, we can able to we let keep it minimum for safe sides, ma'am. So I am going to apply this configuration to my database. I think up to this point is very clear for the faculty members. Any doubt anyone have? Apply. Okay, so we have configured the database. Then backup storage and redundancy. Yesterday also during the when we are creating the database, we are going to we are talking about the redundancy. This is locally redundant. It's only locally redundant in our region only. Okay, replicas will be available in our region only. Zone redundant. Okay. Then geo. Okay, they have asked for zone redundant. So I am changing to locally redundant. Okay. Locally redundant data storage. Okay, so that's all demonstration that is only needed. So we can able to change the backup storage. Okay, redundancy, how many where our replica should be there. So a read-only copy replica of this database will be taking, and they will be having the copies at the other zones or other geographic locations. And if some issues, some connecting issues with the current region is there, we'll get data from the other region. Okay, because we have the replicas in the other region. Okay, fine. So that is about the backup storage and redundancy. But in the case of this database, we should go for the networking part also. Previously in storage account and in virtual machine creation, we are not going with the networking or any of these additional settings, but in the database case, we are going with the networking because based on the accessibility. So in the networking, there is connectivity method is no access to anyone. Okay, if you want to make this access to everybody, if you want to make this particular database to access to everybody, we can able to change this firewall settings. If we want to have the connectivity method as public endpoint, we can able to see this firewall settings can be changed from the database. So I am making it public. Okay, then allow Azure services and resources to access this service. All the Azure services and resources, if Azure services like Azure Data Factory or any other services for if we want to retrieve data to make a workflow or pipeline, we have to make it as S. Then only other Azure services can able to access data from this SQL database. Okay, fine. Then add current add current client IP address, because my IP address. So I also need to access everything, and so I am adding my current IP address. Okay. So connection policy, I'm going it as default connection policy. We can able to test. Then minimum TLS version, multiple versions are here. So it is default is 1.2. We can able to change that also. TLS that may be cost this transport layer security level we can able to define. Okay. This server support encrypted connections using TLS, transport layer security for information. TLS version and certificate referring to connecting with TLS bar SSL. Okay, we can able to learn more. If you want to learn more about this, you can able to learn here. Okay, so this is the thing in the networking tab, and we have to make all the firewall settings for our database. If you want to make it public, and if you want to make a workflow using our Azure Data Factory, we should provide access to other Azure services to this particular SQL database which we are creating. You are not able to find configure, sir. Actually, configure is just below the database creation, sir. I will forward the screenshot of that configure part here. Actually, when I will show it once more, when we are going to that is below that server creation, we can able to find the configure database option there. So basics. So here I am going to have all the networking I have, but firewall. Sorry, can you able to see here? Configure database. I'll put a screenshot. Compute and storage, that is really important. I'm putting a screenshot here, sir. I don't, sir. I have put a screenshot also.
Yes, ma'am. I have found it.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you. So networking, we done with the networking. Then security settings. If you want to enable Microsoft Defender for SQL, we have to this all it will increase the cost actually. If you are start free trial or not now, we are providing not now, because after the free trial it may cost. We can able to see that get started a 3-day free trial period, then it cost 1,178 something for server per month. If you want to add extra security, okay, then Legender, everything, every additional settings or security, it will this cost will increase, okay. So additional settings is here. Use existing data. If you want to use, somebody have asked, some teacher asked that whether you can use existing data. If you don't have existing data, you can provide done. If you want to have start with a blank database. If you want to have, we are going to start with a blank database done. But if we have a database with us, we have to take the backup. Okay, we can able to select the backup from here, but you don't have any backup. We haven't created anything before, right? So we don't have any backup, so no available items. If we have some sample, okay, so some adventure works LT, that is the sample database. Here we can able to get the sample database and we can able to work on it for demonstration. That is also possible, okay. So we are going to create a fresh database using the data source here, okay. Use existing data, so it should be done because we are going to use this one. Then collation, so database collation defines the rules and sort that compare data. So constellation collations, that is cannot be changed for after database creation. So this is the lot of collations are there actually. So we can able to select anything from that. This is the default collation, okay. So this is the this will defines the rules that sort and compare data. We have some constraints for sort and compare data, so that it be default, okay. So maintenance window, this is system default maintenance is 5 p.m. to 8 a.m. That is let it like that, okay. So this is the things. Then some tags are there, name, value. We are not don't want to create anything. Then we can go for review and create, because we have only cost 187 or something. I am going to create a database with this, that is review and create. I am going to database. I am going to create the database with all the settings. So teachers, please double check. Very important. It should be serverless. If it is provisional, it costs very high for a single faculty. So please ensure that before creating, please ensure that it is serverless. But if anyone created as provisional, please let me know. I will show another option after creation. Also, we can able to change it as serverless. That also I'll explain. But if we forgot to change that to serverless, it may cost very high for a single day, okay. So it is better practice to make it self. If it is for demonstration or simple applications, better practice for making it serverless initially itself, okay. Got it? So I am going to create the database here. I hope that everyone are okay up to this point, right? Any doubt anyone have? Any doubt? Hope that no doubt is there. I am going to create the database. Okay. It's like other services. It will show. It is showing some notification, submitting deployment. Everything is showing here. Validation is going on. So we can able to see deployment is progressing. Okay. When we are creating the SQL database. Deployment is in progress. In between, if you need any clarification, any doubt, you can, ma'am, no changes in security settings, right, ma'am? No. Oh, no, security, I have done something, right? That is firewall settings. I have made it as public. I have shared the screenshot, right? The security security, no security, no changes in the security. Fine, ma'am. Deployment will take some time. It will take some time for the deployment. Yes, my deployment is complete. Like our virtual machine storage account, my Microsoft SQL database deployment is complete. So we have to click go to resource here. Okay, once you got this particular screen, you have to click the go to resource button in this go to resource here. Okay, fine. So this is resource group is under FDP AICTE. Subscription is under EF subscription. Location is Central India. So general purpose serverless I have created. Then auto post delay 1 hour. So database connection strings server name this one. I have created a server Diana SQL server database Windows NT. Okay, fine. So my SQL database is created. Then important point. If you have created as provisional, you forgot to make it as provisional. Here is an after deployment also we can also change it as serverless. Okay, so there is an option called compute and storage in the left hand side. This below this search bar, you can able to find an option called compute and storage. Okay. Compute and storage is here. So what we have to do, just click compute and storage and it is now serverless. Okay, you can able to see now it is serverless. If you want to make it as provision, we can able to change from compute and storage there. What the point? We can after deployment also there is an option to change it. Okay. But if you forgot to change after the once you have deployed and you went somewhere and tomorrow only if you are going to work means it will create a problem. It will cost very high. So better practice is to make it serverless if it is for demonstration when you are creating the SQL database. Okay, fine. So here is an option to change to serverless or provisioned here. Okay, fine. Here also we can able to change if you want to increase the maximum echoes, that is possible here. If you want to increase the data maximum size, that is possible. That is editable. This configuration is editable even after deployment. Very flexible in Azure. Fine. Got it? You can able to see the cost summary in here also. Okay.
Ma'am, many options were there, right? Basics, network security, those options we cannot edit after deployment.
Where it is, ma'am?
Ma'am, previously while creating, we have set many options. Network security.
Okay, settings. So those options we can't able to edit, ma'am. Yes. Security settings, everything previously itself we need to we have to set this compute and storage because this is most of the cost matters here, right? So you can change the compute and storage settings, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Other things cannot be edited.
Other things cannot be edited. Loading the database, here it is. Okay, yes. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Only SQL database can be created, or any MySQL, NoSQL, any type of
Yes,
database
sir.
can be created.
Yes, sir. Definitely, sir. I have listed initially. We can able to create SQL database, MySQL database, PostgreSQL database, then Cosmos DB, Azure Data Factory, then Synapse database, data warehouse. This much of services are providing by Azure, sir. Today we
So
are
for handling that big data, that NoSQL or MongoDB, that kind of databases. No?
Actually, for handling the data warehouse, actually we have an option called Azure Synapse, Synaptic Analytics. This can be used for storing the data warehouse and all. Data warehouse kind of applications.
For big data also, we can use that one.
We can use.
Okay. So that is, it can accept
is
the dynamic data.
Dynamic data.
Okay.
So here, formerly it was named as SQL Data Warehouse actually. But now in Azure, it is renamed as Azure Synapse Analytics, this is a big data and data warehousing service provided by Azure actually. That allows you to run very complex queries and analyze large data set using a distributed SQL engines.
Okay. So can we create, after creating the server, we work with the tables and all, can we convert that as an API?
Which one, sir? This one, after creating
This SQL server.
SQL server, actually we can convert it an API that we will work with tomorrow I will demonstrate that we can work with our Microsoft SQL Server Studio actually. We can able to work with that, sir.
Okay.
Tomorrow we'll demonstrate that, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir. So here we can have the query editor here. Okay, query editor. Okay, so the database, this one, Diana, I think Diana SQL login and password. I just forgot my login and password. We have to provide the login and password here. Yes, it is Diana SQL. Then I will click OK. Oh no, login failed. I don't know why it is failed. So yes, I have to provide the correct login and password of the Microsoft SQL server we have created. We have provided the option that we have to use the SQL authentication, right? So we have to provide the username and password for the Microsoft SQL server which we have created. I told you that we have to remember that. Okay. So there is a window for running the query. Okay, here we can able to access the SQL database from here. Okay, for example, I am going to create a table here. Create table FDP. Okay, FDP. I need to store all the FDP details. Okay, so I need to store your name. Name, I need to store your name. I'm providing the size is 30 and I need to store your phone number also. Okay, phone number and I am going to provide here. Okay, so if I need to create a table to store, that is ACT, we are ACT FDP. Okay, I'm providing the table as create table ACT FDP. And this table is I am using to store your name and phone number. Okay, so when after writing the queries, I think computer science or IT faculties may better understand this query. This is a language called SQL, structured query language. which we used to create database, and we used to manipulate the database, like inserting values into the database, querying the database and all. Okay, so I am going to run this one. So query succeeded, affected 0 rows. Okay, so I have created a table that is AICT FTP. Now I need to insert some values into that. Okay, insert into, what is our table name? We are created, just the non-computer science faculties just think that we are going to, you have a, you in the table you can able to see your student roll number and student name, right? Like that, we are going to create a table in the database to store the FDP faculty details. Okay, so we are going to insert name. Okay, so insert into AICT FDP. This is the table name. Okay, table name. So AICT FDP, we have to provide the values one by one. Okay, so I am providing a value name ABC. Just for example, I am providing the ABC, and for number I am providing something. Okay, we can able to provide the constraints that it should contain 10 digits for the phone number. That everything we can set. That is completely regarding the syllabus called DBMS. Okay, so I'm going to provide the phone number like this. Okay, so here I need to provide in this one ABC, then 56. Okay, this I have provided, and I provided semicolon. Okay, so this, when I am running this one, just see it won't run because because could not find the procedure I, where it is I, because insert this. I am commenting this. We can comment the previous query and we run the current query actually. So query affected 0 rows. Okay, so we have to comment the previous query and run the current query only by commenting like this. Okay, so I have inserted the values into the table. The name is ABC and phone number is this one. Okay, so again I am going to comment this one, and I am going to view the database which we have created.
Ma'am, actually, we are not able to enter into query editor. Though
Why,
we are
ma'am?
giving the right password.
Well, the password and username may be incorrect, ma'am. Otherwise, it will end up.
Okay, let me check.
So I am just select star from that everything went actually. ACT FDP. Can able to see, I have created a table and inserted the name and phone number of the faculty, right? And I am querying the table to display all the details. I have inserted your details, all your details, your name and phone number into this table. Then we can, when I am selecting the table, I can able to see all your name and phone number right here. Okay. So you can able to store some data in the database like this SQL database. You can able to access database from Microsoft Azure. I think time is 1:25 now. So we can wind up here. If we have any doubt, we have to search for it. We'll get the option query editor here. Okay, query editor here. And you have to log in with the correct table name and password. I think this is due to some connectivity problem, ma'am. Kushli Devi, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am. Then it is fine. We'll check later.
Yes, ma'am. So any doubt anyone have? I think time is 1:25 actually. Shashadan, whether you need to convey anything?
Yes, Dan, I need just 5 minutes.
So thank you, dear teachers. We'll recap these things in tomorrow morning, starting or itself. Okay, we'll recap it once more, how to create the SQL database and how to get it. We can work it from an API. Okay, Microsoft Studio, SQL Studio. Okay. Fine. Thank you so much. Thank you, dear faculties. Thank you. Bye. See you tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Diana and Mary. Diana, is my voice audible or is there any lag? Is there any voice
Yes,
breaking?
voice is audible, but video having some lag. I think it is better to turn off the video. So.
Sure, sure. Thank you so much, Diana. Thank you so much, participant, for staying till 1:25. I know like there are a lot of people logged out in between also, but thank you so much for staying back. There are a few announcements. One is like, I just want to understand how was the guest session today. Maybe you can quickly also mention that in the chat box, one or two people. Is it good or okay, or need some improvement? Quickly, if you put like chat box, that would be really, really great. Maybe just few feedback. Good. Thank you. Thank you so much, Anjana ma'am. Thank you so much, Uma Mageshwara Rao sir. So now I request all your feedback in the please. Okay. So now I request all your feedback in the Google form. So I'm going to share the Google form link here. I think I'm getting very good feedback. So I'm putting a feedback link. So you can just open the link and you can quickly fill up the information, which will take just 1 or 2 minutes only, not more than that. So this is for only today's feedback session. We usually get this feedback of this entire session on day 5 through the LMS, but this is very, very particular to today's session. I mean, today's volunteer engagement session. So please fill that information. And people are asking about the attendance. I hope like attendance was shared multiple times, but still I can share it with you. Maria, Diana, do you have that link with you, Andy, or I can go and?
Yes, we'll share.
Please, please. Thank you so much, Diana. And I hope like we have approved all your LMS registration. In case if there is any pending, maybe I'll just give me 1 minute time. I'll just check is there any pending registration approval from my end. Just give me 1 minute time. So Maria has uploaded the attendance form. So please fill your attendance. Yeah. And just give me 1 minute time. I'll just check is there anybody I need to approve on the LMS. So yeah, I think Dr. Anjana Sangwan, Dr. Dinesh Jain, Mrs. Deepthi. So you have registered on the LMS today and I'm approving it now. I'm not sure whether these people are staying in this link. But yeah, so whoever I called now, I'm going to approve your registration. Again, I'm going to call out your name, Dr. Anjana, Dr. Dinesh, and Mrs. Deepthi. So yeah, now all these 3 people can use your LMS using test at 1, 2, 3. Again, I can mention like test at 1, 2, 3, 4 for LMS password for newly registered people. Just I'm typing it. Yeah. And yesterday also I have shared this LMS registration challenges sheet where like you can also update your challenges on the LMS. I mean, if you have any challenges on LMS, you can update that in the Google Sheet. But I was also getting a lot of other related information like Azure portal is not working, subscription is not given, etc., etc. For that, like every day we can connect with the trainers and we can get it clarified. But if you have any clarification on LMS, please use the sheet only for LMS challenges. Okay. So I've also pasted the link on the chat box. This is basically for the LMS and whatever like whoever updated that LMS challenges sheet, I've also resolved all your queries. And this morning also we have discussed about that. So kindly, if you have any other queries, like if you find any other challenges, you can also fill that sheet. And again, if you have not attended any baseline assessment, please don't take the baseline assessment anymore because it has to be done only on day 1 or maximum on day 2, not on day 3. So and one delay from my end, I had to upload the YouTube link. The YouTube link is ready, but due to some technical issue, it's not like live on the LMS. So today I'll share the playlist again with you with day 2 as well as day 3 video link. So that will be live maybe before 8 o'clock tonight. And once it is live, I will also update you. So these are the announcements from my end. Maybe I can also repeat you once again. So I have shared the feedback today's voluntary engagement or guest session feedback form. Please fill it up. And second, we also shared the attendance Google form. Please fill your attendance today. And I also shared the LMS challenges Google Sheet. If you find any challenges on LMS, please use the sheet. You can update that. I can also refer that sheet and I can also fix your challenges. And for YouTube link, by today, before 8 or 9 o'clock, I'll update you once it is live on the YouTube channel. So that's it from my end. If you have any doubts on LMS or any other challenges, you can stay back. Otherwise, we can end this today's session. Once again, thank you so much for your active participation. Bye-bye and have a great lunch. Take rest. We can meet again tomorrow at 9:20 sharp. So thank you all. Bye-bye. And if you have any question, you can
Shashwathan,
say
I
that.
have shared the attendance link again in the chat
Okay.
as last message. And then they
Yes,
can
thank you
refer
so
it.
much. Thank you so much, Diana. If you have any doubts, you can stay back. We have our trainers. Maybe I can also request our trainers to stay back for a couple of minutes. If you have any doubts, we can clarify it now, or we can connect tomorrow also. Thank you. Thank you so much, Anjana ma'am. Yes, only attendance and feedback link. Exactly.